How's it going, guys? Mike here on the Tressa's Collectibles channel, and today we are going to be taking a look at the newly released English Dengeki Bunko set. Dengeki Bunko is a long-awaited release for fans of some of the most classic light novel titles in anime history, and it is kind of like a compilation set featuring a bunch of different titles from the Dengeki Bunko light novel imprint. So as you guys can see here, we're going to be taking a look at the usual two boxes, but Dengeki Bunko also actually features two different trial decks. There is a Weiss side trial deck and a Schwarz side trial deck, and they do feature completely different cards, and it is intended to be played all together as one Neo Standard. And I'm going to be going over how exactly the Neo Standards work in terms of just card compatibility, things like that. But basically, anything that you open in Dengeki Bunko can be played all together, even though they are actually different franchises. So that kind of goes along against the grain of usual Weiss Schwarz deck building principles of you sticking with one franchise at a time. But you know, the Bunko series are an exception to that rule. So let's take a look at the trial decks first, and then we'll go into the booster boxes afterwards, and I'll go ahead and talk about each product as we open them. We have a lot to go through today, so hopefully you guys are comfortable already, got your cup of coffee or whatever you like to enjoy, and hopefully you guys can join me alongside this blast from the past, this trip down memory lane as I go over the cards in the set, and some animes that haven't adapted were the classics of the early 2010s and stuff, so I have very fond memories of them myself. As far as the two trial decks, let's go ahead and take a look at the Weiss side trial deck first. This is Weiss Schwarz after all, not Schwarz Weiss. For a bit of background, why is the game called Weiss Schwarz? Why are there two different trial decks? When the game was first conceived, it was actually designed to be franchises that were kind of like rom-coms or just straight comedy, or maybe you would have light-hearted fantasy works. Those would usually go in the Weiss side sets. So you could tell what is Weiss and what is Schwarz side by the set code, where it would be like set code /W compared to Schwarz side would be set code /S. And then you can also tell because the wings on the bottom of the cards are white for Weiss and black for Schwarz. Basically, how they used to do it was that they did try to separate different franchises based on their theme or tone of work into Weiss or Schwarz side. So what you'll find is that the Weiss side will have a lot of like girls, rom-coms, that kind of thing, whereas the Schwarz side is going to have a lot more serious fantasy. I'm not going to call it like dark fantasy, but it's kind of like it'll take a more serious tone, or it'll be kind of like has a lot of dudes, basically, you know, things like that. It's very, very general, and honestly, at this point, they can kind of just put whatever franchise into whatever site they want to kind of keep the balance. But when the game was conceived, that was how they determined things. Oh. So let's take a look at the Weiss side trial deck. We do have the cover foil, which is a climax combo. One thing of note for both of these trial decks is you do receive a level 1 and a level 3 climax combo. So it's up to modern standards compared to some trial decks even nowadays for TD++, TD pluses, where you'll have either a level 3 combo and empty level 1, or vice versa. The Dengeki Bunko trial decks do come with 2 combos, so you don't actually feel super bad about just opening one and playing it out of the pack. The index level 1 combo is very flavorful for those that are familiar with Japanese index. In the Japanese Weiss Schwarz game, index and Rogan actually have their own set. And all the Toma cards in the index set are all level 0s because Toma himself is a level 0. So since Toma is on this card gets -1 level while on stage. That is considered a downside, but in return you usually get an extra bonus power. So this is 4/5 base. During your turn 6/5, and then climax combo, if you have 2 or more others, you can top check 4 and add up to 1 level and a higher card. and then discard the rest. Something that you'll see that I'll be pointing out throughout this video and looking at more cards is that Dengeki Bunko is a set that really, it has a lot of focus slash synergy based on trigger checking or top checking level 1 and higher. So you really want your deck to run as many level 1 and higher as possible. So we do have the 1 foil, and we are going to have 3 non-foils after that. For our brainstorm, we do have this Shana. It's just a generic tap self mill 5 draw brainstorm. And then it also has on play, if your opponent has 1 or less front row characters, you can pop one of their cost 0 or lower front row characters. Generic brainstorm gets the job done. This Hollow and Lawrence, we have Spice and Wolf now. I know there is a reboot that has been airing for the past couple seasons. So Spice and Wolf fans, you definitely do have something to look forward to in Dengeki Bunko. 1 or less, plus 15, so 3,500, and then Pseudo Encore at the beginning of the Encore step. Don't have any other rest of the standing characters, then you get to pay 1 Encore. So honestly, a pretty decent 3-5 beater profile. We have Emi. This is from Hataraku Mao-sama, one of my personal favorite rom-coms that I honestly have ever watched. I loved the first season. The first season was one of my favorite shows. It just, the humor was so on point, and the chemistry between the characters, the main Mao-sama, Ashia, and Emi were, it was just so, they bounced off each other so well. During your turn, plus 4k if you have a marker, and then on play, top check if it's Dengeki Bunko, you get to mark it. Anniversary Mikoto, back to index. Can't slide, and it's a climax swapper. It is worthy to note that this set, Dengeki Bunko overall, actually has 2 different climax swappers. We have the Mikoto here in the trial deck, and then we also have an Excel World climax swapper. I believe it's a Nico, and that is in the booster. They are both yellow, so the colors don't really matter. It kind of just, I think it's yellow. I believe it's yellow, but you can kind of just take your pick. But it is nice that they give you a climax swapper in the actual trial deck itself. We have this 1-0 Taiga during your turn, plus 5k, and then it bonds to the level 3 finisher of the set. We have 3 more copies of the climax combo level 1. And then we have a 1-1 Shana. It is basically 7k hand encore, and then on play you can discard 1 Dengeki Bunko, and then you get to search your deck for an Anniversary Shana, which is it's your brainstorm. So if you don't have your brainstorm already, you can go ahead and search that brainstorm out. And then to finish off the yellow, we do have 3 copies of our Climax combo, and then the 4th copy would be in the back. I think you actually do get the 4 copies in this trial deck, which is really nice because you get 4 level 1 combos and 4 level 3 combos. On play heal and Climax combo on attack, it gets 2,000 power, and on reverse, you can pay 1, discard 1, burn 2. Fairly just normal, fine. 13k on attack, including the Climax, is a pretty good number. On reverse, pay 1, discard 1, burn 2. Just normal, average, solid. Though this combo does actually have support in the booster, so hopefully we can pull that support from the booster, and we can talk about that. Next, we have this event. Definitely one of the cards that you're looking for from the trial deck if you're looking at the overall scope of Dengeki Bunko is this 2-0 event. Crunchy and fluffy melon bread. For Shana fans, we all know that Shana does love her melon bread, so this is a cute Shana eating her melon bread on top of a cute Shana eating her melon bread. We have the doll here, right? This is a super good effect at level 2. You can either choose to search for your deck for a Dengeki Bunko or Flame character, add it to your hand, or you can choose one of your characters and it gets 3,000 power, and then you put this card into your stock. This card is good not only in Dengeki Bunko, but also in Shana. Something that I just realized I haven't quite talked about yet is how Neo Standard compatibility works. So basically everything that is in Dengeki Bunko you can run together. However, for those sets that actually have their own Neo Standards, like Shana, like Sword Art, you are able to use those particular cards as part of your main individual Neo Standard. Basically, if you only run Dengeki Bunko Shana cards, you are allowed to mix those with the Shana Premium Booster cards as well. And that is actually something that I know a lot of people are looking forward to, as Shana does get a significant power increase with the advent of the Dengeki Bunko set, and this card certainly is one of the reasons why improving consistency at level 2, having good resource management, getting the extra power is always nice. Just a really useful utility card that is very flexible depending on what you need. We do see here we have 3 copies each of the Christmas Party, which is the level 1 combo for Index Railgun, and the level 3 Taiga, cute Resting Tiger for the level 3 Toradora combo. So we do have a 4-4 split. There is no random 2-soul in these Dengeki Bunko trial decks. You do just get a normal 4-4 split. Now we are going to move on to all the green cards. We have this Akko, which is from 500 and rest herself, give a character 1000. We have this Kuroneko, which is on play, reveal top. If it's a level 1 or higher, add it to your hand. This card, going back to that level 1 or higher theme. And then it's a drop search, on play, put and discard one. Search your deck for a Dengeki Bunko, add it to your hand. I have this Hinata, I believe this is Ryukobu, which is a Rokyubu, Ryuko Raokyu, the basketball lolly show. Okay, I never quite remember what it's called. On play mill 2, and then if there's a climax among those cards milled, you get to choose violence, and she gets 2 soul for the turn. And then on play, you can discard a Dengeki Bunko to draw 1 card. Copy of this Airi. On attack, give another character 1000 times their soul. And then on death, you can pay to salvage a Dengeki. Level 0 Ariel, I believe this is a Denpa Onna. At the beginning of your climax phase, give one of your characters 500, and then when battle opponent of this card becomes reversed, you can time machine it, so you can send it to memory, and then at the start of your next draw phase, you bring it back in any position you like. I have a 1/1 Tomoka counter. These 3 are all Ryukobu. Rokyubu. I'm gonna stick with Rokyubu, and if that's wrong, then I will die sitting on top of this particular hill. On backup usage, it's a 1/1. You can top deck stock, so it's essentially a 1/0 but you mill 1. We have this 2/1 Mai, and for people that like Bunny Girl Senpai, Mai does have a couple of cards in this set, as well as Nodoka and Shoko. This Mai is a level assist times 500, and then when you play Climax, you can give one of your characters 3000. So if power is what you're looking for, then power is what this Mai has. 2/1 Sagiri. During opponent's turn, if you have 2 or more other Dengeki Bunko characters, plus 4k, and then at the beginning of your opponent's attack phase, you can choose this and one of your Jinsei Sodan Kirinos, Final Life Counseling Kirinos, and swap them. So we do have the 2, let's call it family, sibling, relation shows. We do have the Eromanga Sensei and the Ore no Imoto ga konna ni kawaiku wake ga nai shows. They do have a good amount of cards, both in the trial deck and in the booster, enough cards to where they can actually form their own archetype of what I like to call 8 gold bar incest. But these 2 do swap around with each other. The Kirino is on play, you can discard a card, discard a Dengeki Bunko character and summon the Sagiri from your waiting room. And then she gets attack, power on attack, and then Sagiri and Kirino can swap around through Sagiri's effect. Right. Finishing off, we have, my favorite character from Oreimo, and the girl that really should have won. It's Ayase, the Yandere model, voiced by Haming, so thumbs up. On play, draw 1, and then give one of your characters, choose one of your opponent's characters, and they get during this card's battle. You cannot use events or backup, so if you want to turn off interaction, then Ayase will literally lock them down and tell them no. And then also on play, if you have 4 more other Dengeki Bunko characters, you can stock 1 clean from waiting room. So it's a 3/1 essentially, and also draws 1 on play and prevents your opponent from using an event. So if you know your opponent has some really threatening event or backup, you can just stop it dead in its track. Really useful card. And that is the last card, and then we do have basically 1 of everything for the last half. So anything that you see as a 1 of, initially, there are 2 copies, and anything that you see as a 3 of, there are 4 copies. So I have to say that the ratios are actually pretty good. Most of the cards that you do want 4s of, you actually do get 4s of. Namely just the level 1 and level 3 combo. and their corresponding climaxes. I actually think those are the only cards that come as 4-ofs. Everything else I think is a 2-of, and we did pull a triple rare of the Irie. You do get a random triple rare every single trial deck, and then if you're lucky, you can pull one of the 3 different signatures in the Dengeki Bunko per trial deck. For the Weiss trial deck, the signatures that are possible, these are all Seiyu signs, these are all voice actress signs. So we have Kuroneko can be one of the signatures, the Misaka Mikoto Climax Swapper can be one of the signatures, and then the Taiga, Minori, Ami finisher can also be one of the signatures. And if you're wondering whose signature it is on this one, I believe it is Minori's signature, not Taiga's. I believe it is Minori's. I'll have to double check on this one, and Randa will correct me in post edit if I am wrong, but I believe it is specifically the Yui Horii one and not the Kugemiya Rie one. Because I do think Kugemiya Rie does have a couple signatures, or one signature in the booster. I believe the trial deck signatures, none of the VAs that have trial deck signatures also have a booster signature. So, yeah, that is the Weiss trial deck. Honestly, pretty good. It's very well-rounded, I would say. I think that it might be a bit lacking on selective main... Oh, actually, no, it has a drop searcher. And it does have the 1-0 Taiga that can discard anything. So if you wanted to discard your climaxes without paying for stock, there is that option. Honestly, yeah, you have an extra way to search your brainstorms out. If anything, I would have wished that there would be the normal 4 brainstorms that comes in every troll deck, but I think it is a worthy sacrifice to maximize the slots on the climax combos and their respective climaxes. So I think that is, I think that's totally fair. Alright, so that is the Weiss side trial deck. As you can see, it also is, like I mentioned, it is a lot of kind of like fluffy. I guess Shana is kind of like the odd horse out. I think Shana is it takes itself pretty seriously, and there are some pretty cool action scenes and all that stuff. But for the most part, you do see it's kind of like more light-hearted rom-com type of sets. And now we get to the manly men. We have the Schwarz side trial deck. The cover card being Miyuki shooting or pointing his gun at us. And while having his other arm protecting, or Tatsuya protecting Miyuki. I always get too confused. It's a big bro Tatsuya protecting his little sister. So let's take a look at what this deck has to offer. The first card and the cover card, which is an SR, is actually a bonder to our level 1 climax combo, which is this one. It's on play, you can discard a card, salvage that 1-0 from your waiting room, and then also at the beginning of your opponent's attack phase, it's a back row runner, so you can pay 1 and move it to the back row. In this set, we also have Accel World is one of the sets that previously is already its own new standard. We have had Accel World 1 and Accel World Infinite Burst. For those of the old guard that do have those old cards, you can put the new Dengeki cards for Accel World alongside your old cards, and that is perfectly fine. The Kuruki Hime is our brainstormer for this particular deck, and then also during your turn, during our turn, our other middle slot character gets 1000 power. Also featured in the short side trial deck is GGO with the main character Len. During your turn, plus 1000 power, and then when damage dealt by this card is not cancelled, she gets 6000 power. So this is a level 0 that can potentially go up to 7-5. Can contest quite a few of the level 1s in the game as well. Next we have this Nanao and Oliver. I don't quite remember, I think this is like 7 Blades or something. I'm not quite familiar with this franchise, but I do think the art is really nice. Level 0 on play gets 15, and then it's on attack you can discard 1 to choose one of your other Dengeki Bunko characters and bounce it back to your hand. So it's a good idea. It's a good way for you to get extra value if you have something that you want to play again next turn. You can attack with that first, and even if it is reversed, you can attack with this afterwards, and then you can bounce that, say, a reverse character back to your hand for future use. Maybe discard a climax, or discard something that is just not something you plan on playing next turn. Next we have this Anos from Mahouka, the Demon Academy. This is one of my favorite cool profiles from this set. Super interesting card. It's a 3/5 beater. All of your opponent's characters have to pay 2 Encore. And then when this card reverses a character in battle, if you do not have another character in your backstage, then you can look at the top 2 cards of your deck, choose up to 1 level 0 or lower Dengeki Bunko character, and put it on your backstage. So this is just super crazy because it actually activates on both turns. So let's say that your opponent played a guy, and then you respond with the Anos, and you kill it, and then you top check 2, and if you see a level 0, you summon it. But if you don't, and it's still alive, during your opponent's turn, if they want to crash into it or trade with it with a 3/5, you still get to activate that top check 2 and have another chance of summoning a 0. So it's a super great way of playing a beater while incidentally having just random chances to just +1 for free. And it also comes with a tiny load of deck speed. The mill 2 will never hurt. Super cool card. I do think it is a shame that so much of Dengeki Bunko set design pushes you to run a bunch of level 1 and higher cards, while this particular Anos obviously would prefer that you run a decent amount of level 0s. So it is kind of a clash of principles, but I think the card design in itself is super interesting and not something that we get to see very often. Next we have Jess. Jess is from that one pig show. I'm not quite sure what the name of that show is, but it's the one where it's like a bunch of really cute girls jump and a pig. I like it a lot in terms of aesthetics because the illustrator that draws this is the same person that did Fauna from Hololive. They designed Fauna's character model. And for those that are really niche, let me just shout out my favorite VSPO group, or my favorite VTuber group, VSPO. Aizawa Emma is also a character designed by the illustrator that draws this particular light novel. Pulling it back, this is a 2/1 counter, and then it's just a 3/5 backup. Next, we have another Excel World card. We do have the whole host of girls here. This is a 2/1 frontal assist, level assist, 500. And it has Accelerate. Can't be Excel World without an Accelerate effect. Pay 2 and put the top card of your deck into clock at the beginning of your climax phase. You can pay the cost. If you do choose one of your characters and they get 1000, and on reverse, burn 1. So if you just have that much extra resources to burn, pay 2, clock yourself, give one of your characters on reverse, burn 1. If you need that extra burn, you do have that extra reach, as long as you have the resources. Next we have this Lena. Now I know a lot of people are looking for Lena, myself included. Lena is obviously from the critically acclaimed by me show 86. 86 is one of those really dark ones. It's very serious, post-apocalyptic, humans against a bunch of alien robot thingies. Such a great show. Check it out if you guys haven't already. Lena is one of the main characters alongside a stellar other main cast. This Lena is, if you have 3 or more other characters, she gets 4/5 at Hand Encore. She's 5/5 base, putting her at 10k Hand Encore. And also on attack, you can pay 1, discard 1, and choose up to 3 of your characters, and they get 500 power and 1 soul. So honestly, it's a really sticky card that is just very self-sufficient because she's 10k Hand Encore and just acts as a 1k1 when you need it. Well, 501 when you need it, The extra soul output, and it is also just all assignable. So if you don't want to give all of your characters the 1 soul, you can give some characters 1 soul, but it says up to 3, so you can essentially just give your entire front row the 1 soul if you want. Super cool card. Next we have this Kino from Kino's Journey. On attack, give one of your other characters 1000 times the number of your other Dengeki Bunko characters on board. So if you have a full board, she gives 4k on attack to another character. And then when this card's battle opponent becomes reversed, choose one of your characters and they get 2000. I wonder if this can target itself. I guess not. Yeah, I'll have to double check. This card kind of reminds me of the 2/1 Reiner from Attack on Titan final season. I think they have 2 very similar effects. Okay, and next we do have 3+1 copy of the finisher for this deck, which is the 2 Kings, Kuroiki Hime, and Nico. On play, top track 3, add 1, mill the rest. Climax combo with the Red Door Climax, of which we do get 4 copies. On attack, discard 1, mill bottom 5, and then deal X equals the number of climaxes that you milled. And then she also gets to top check 2 of your deck and then put them on top of your deck in any order, so you get to rearrange them. You don't get to mill them. It is not mokoing yourself, but you do just get to top check 2 rearrange just to confirm your trigger. It is important to note that you do burn the X first. You mill and burn X first, and then you get to reconfirm your trigger, and you can make your decision after you see if they canceled or took the damage from the mill 5. But it's a really self-sufficient finisher because she does cantrip on play, and it's just a very low cost of discard 1. So this is the type of finisher in which you can utilize something like the 2-1 to kind of give you that extra oomph. Its own finishing power is not super strong, but then if you can give it that extra kick, with how cheap the finisher is, you can hopefully afford that extra 2 stock, and you can still make it work. Going into the blue now, we do have another copy of the 3-2, or of the level 0 Miyuki Tatsuya Bonder to the 1-0 combo. Next, we have a Miyuki by herself. She is a global 500 to all your Dengeki Bunko, and also just because she loves her Oni-sama so much, she gives this particular 1-0 combo 1000 power. So this card essentially gives the Tatsuya combo 1500, which is for a level 1 combo, global 15 across both turns, it's nothing to scoff at. I think if you do want to run the Tatsuya combo, even in constructed builds, I think 1 or 2 copies of this is definitely justifiable. Next, we have the good old Sword Art Online. Can never have enough Sword Art Online. We have this Standing Under the Moon Kirito. If you have 5 more cards in hand, he becomes a 3k beater. And also on attack, you trigger check twice. There's no cost to it. Well, there is a cost to it, but it's kind of worded a different way. You trigger check twice, and then at the end of this card's attack, you put the top card of your stock into your waiting room. So you would trigger check twice and then put the top stock, compared to normal twin drives, which would be you have to pay 1 first, and then you get to trigger twice. So this Kirito would work in terms of triggering twice, even if you don't have any stock. So it can be a fine first attacker if you want it to be. Next, we have a copy of this Yukina. Yukina is from Strike the Blood, if you don't recognize her from the art. I know I certainly didn't at first glance, but because all of these anniversary set arts are all kind of like special promotion art, some of the art style might be different from what you're used to. But this is one of your beaters of choice. The short side draw deck has a lot of beaters. So this can't side, and then also on play. Mill the top 2 cards of your deck, and then she gets 1000 power until the end of your opponent's next turn, where X equals the number of Dengeki Bunko characters you mill. So if you mill 2 characters, she is just 4 or 5 until the end of your opponent's next turn. Not so shabby. Here we have Alice from Sword Art. We have the Flucklight and Integrity Knight and Dengeki Bunko trait. Something you guys might not be super familiar with is we do have the technology for 3 traits. So 1-0 on play, reveal the top card of your deck. If it is a this event, or a Dengeki Bunko character, or Flucklight character, then all of your opponent's characters in center stage get minus 1500 power, so it's a really rude way for you to deny some on reverse effects on level 0s and such, or just open up some lanes for direct attacks, or simply just to get some extra minus power so you can win your board. And also on placement of Climax, she gets 4500, so she is a 101k, but she becomes a respectable vanilla power line when you play Climax. Which, like in this day and age, we do want to play Climax almost every turn anyways. Alright, we have this 1-0 Asuna Yuki. On play, or not on play, this just gets 1500 per every one of your Avatar or Net or Dengeki Bunko characters in back row. So obviously this is backwards compatible with our old Avatar Net decks. The Alice deck, this Alice is backwards compatible with our Alicization decks. And this is on play. We can discard a Dengeki or Avatar Net character, and then if we do, we can search our deck for the Anniversary Kurikihime, which is this level 0 Brainstorm. So kind of staying on theme of like both decks having a 1-0 or 1-1 that allows us to search our deck for one of our 2s of Brainstorms, just for that extra consistency. Definitely very appreciated. For our level 1 combo, which we finally got to, it is the Strategic Class Magician Tatsuya. During your turn, if you have 2 or more, plus 2k. Climax combo on reverse with the Pantalones combo, the Clash with the Visitor. We get to discard any card from our hand and search our deck for 2 Dengeki Bunko characters. Super powerful combo in my opinion. It's one of those combos that as long as you can get a reverse, you have very high selectivity because at this point in the game when you just hit level 1, you should have the majority of your deck left still. And also, it's a really good way to compress on the first deck without taking out climaxes. Search 2 Clean is a super powerful effect. And if you can have triple Tatsuya and you get to trigger Clean 3 times and search 6 Clean, then you're probably going to cancel once or twice at the very least the following turn. That's just how powerful the numbers add up if you can take out so many cards from your deck that are all not climaxes. And then we have a Horizon from Kyokai Senjo no Horizon. Horizon in the middle of nowhere. If you have 2 or more other characters, all of your other characters get 1000. So she has actually a global 1000 that doesn't buff herself. And also on play heal. So we do have 2 copies of that. And then we have the event for the trial deck. Usable in Sword Art. It's a 1-0 top check 4 event, and then top check 4 you can add up to 1 Dengeki or Floodlight and then discard the rest. So this is compatible with specifically your Alicization builds. And then we do have the 3 climaxes. Going into the duplicates. And it does seem like because we skipped this Jest, I think we pulled a Jest triple rare, which would be totally fine with me. There it is. Like I said before, I do really like this particular illustrator. I'm a huge fan of the way they have very pastel-y and soft skin tones and character designs. So, alright. Those were our 2 trial decks. Stick around because we do have quite a bit more to go. We are obviously going to go into the booster boxes now. So let me clean everything up and we'll be right back with the 2 Dengeki Bunko booster box openings. Oh, something I forgot to mention, guys. The possible signatures are these 3. So we have the Anos, the Kirito, and the Tatsuya. In a showcase of Dengeki Bunko trial decks, which is 48 trial decks, I believe you get 2 of the 3. So you are not expected to pull all 3. You should get 2 of the 3, and everything else should be triple rares. Notably, like I said, the Schwarz side trial deck does have all dudes for signatures, whereas the Dengeki Weiss side trial deck has all girls. We have the Mikoto, we have the Minori, and then we do have the Kuro Neko drop search. Okay. We are back, guys, with the booster box opening for Dengeki Bunko. Let's get ahead and jump right into it. So the booster case topper playmat is this, as you see here. This particular set of kanji does say Dengeki Bunko, and this release is celebrating the 30th anniversary of the imprint's existence. On the cover, we do have Index, Shana, Miyuki, and Asuna, but there are just so many more different franchises that are represented in this set. I believe there are a total of 51 different titles. Now, obviously, not all of them have equal representation. Some series just have like one card as just a nice tribute, while other more popular titles like Shana, like Sword Art, they have a decent amount of cards. Not enough to which you can play like a mono Sword Art Online deck within Dengeki Bunko. That's not quite to the level of cards they have, but a good amount is what you expect. In terms of sign info, if you guys can't believe it, there are, I just realized this like square is actually like almost the exact size of a booster box. Anyways, there are a whopping 64 types of SPs. 64. And the rest of the set does come foil, so you have 86 SRs, 64 SPs. Now you might be asking, Mike, there are so many SPs. Surely a case of 18 boxes should come with a bunch of SPs, right? Well, that's where, unfortunately, you are mistaken, as a sealed case of Dengeki Bunko comes with 3 signatures. So pulling one that you want is truly going to be an absolute joy because the odds are ever so not in our favor. However, the more series you like from the Dengeki Bunko franchise, the more potential hits that you'll be happy with. The way they have the signatures set up is that most of the popular titles in which they have signatures for, they'll have 3 per franchise. And it'll be one from the original author of the light novel, one for the illustrator, and one for the voice actor / actress of the character depicted on the card. So for example, you'll have like 3 different Sword Art cards, then they're all signed, but one is an Alice signed by Abeck, one is an Asuna signed by Haruka Tomatsu, which is the voice actress, and then you have one signed by... Which one is the Sword Art? Don't quite remember. But you'll have a third one signed by the original author, which is what I mean to get to. So basically all the sets that have signs for all the franchises that have signs will have 3 different ones by 3 different people representing different roles for that particular series. And for the first time in such a long while, we have first seconds. First seconds are back, and they are our box topper promos for Dengeki Bunko. Now, for the completionists out there are 51 different first seconds, which is why I thought there were 51 different franchises represented, because every single light novel title that is represented in this Dengeki Bunko set has a first second card. Now, you only get one of these, so it's not as if you can just have a pair. And every franchise will either be first or second. Not both, so unfortunately you can't have a pair of like Toradora first seconds. You'll only get one. So for this one, we did get Kamisama no Memocho as a going second card. And then we have our typical fare of the 16 packs. Now in every single booster pack, we are expecting for Dengeki Bunko 5 double rares, because the overall set is a larger than average set. We do have 15 double rares in Dengeki Bunko. And a whole total 150 cards. So it is 50% more than the normal 100 card set. Tons of cards to collect. Everything can come foil. Collectors, nightmare / paradise. Let's get started. We have Angel Metatron from Excel Road. So I'm not going to go over every single card. Obviously, that is going to just take forever. I'll point out the cards that are interesting. This is a pretty cool card, though. It's a 2/1, and you can send this to memory to bounce one of your opponent's characters. That in itself is already a pretty meta-relevant effect. You can bounce something like the 1/1 Shana anti-burn with this card. But then also at the beginning, when this card is in your memory, when you accelerate, because it is an Excel world, you can look at the top 4 cards of your deck and choose up to 1 climax among them and add it to your hand. And if you added a climax, you can discard a card. Or you have to discard a card and then give one of your characters 1,000. So it's an extra way to just, if you don't have your climax already, use that accelerate, go for it, balls to the walls, all in, see if you can find that climax combo that you need, and if you do, the Angel Metatron will have helped you to do that. We have a Fuka and Len card. We have Kitamura from Toradora. One of the things I really like about opening this set is that it is all light novel art. So I know a lot of people that are kind of down on some Weiss Schwarz. Is one of the big reasons is that a lot of art is just screen caps, maybe like 360p, 480p screen caps from the anime in question. But for these Bunko sets, for these light novel sets, and for game sets, the assets are all just specifically drawn. They're super nice. They're made to be looked at as a still frame, so they all have very high quality. This ISA is actually a pretty good level 0 beater. During your opponent's turn, if you're through less thought, this gets 1/5 and 1 level. And then it is a chaser. So 3/5 level 1 chaser. It's just the epitome of obnoxiousness. Obviously, during your turn, she's only 2k, but if you're going first, this is probably one of the best openers that you could ask for in Dengeki Bunko. Definitely a card you want to consider, especially if you are trying to splash in green. Oh, we have our first foil. We have Bringing in Nervousness. This is the gold bar climax for a level 0 Kuroneko. Hopefully we will pull that. That is, I think, just like an uncommon or something, so it should be pretty easy. The foiling is kind of like slashing across horizontally, and it is of our favorite. We love to hate him. We have Kyosuke alongside one of the many girls that loves him, Kuroneko. Yeah. We have this 2-1 Tatsuya and Mayumi. This is a bottom deck bomb. And then a Chiri and Kugikime from Axel World. When you play Climax, give 1 soul and then Global 500. So if you want to make the game really aggressive, you can just have this as one of your back row and that would be absolutely fine. And then we have Yuji and Shana as our rare. Not one of the Shana cards that sees a lot of play. It's on attack, gets 1000 per number of characters your opponent has, so it can actually go up to 5/5. And then when damage you receive is cancelled during this card's battle, you can return this back to your hand. And then our climax is the climax for Axel World, the level 1 Yuki Hime, Kuroiki Hime double rare climax. Double rare combo, which we hopefully will pull. Rare. Okay, next pack. We have Ariel from Denpa Onna. We have Hollow from Spice and Wolf. This is one of the cards that can come signed. I think this is also one of the cards that come signed. I mean, 64 cards come signed. So many cards come signed in a set. Oh my goodness. This card in particular does work with another Lawrence and Hollow card, which searches for this and summons it. But this is intended to be an 8k beater, and then when this card becomes reversed in battle, reveal the top card. If it's level 2 or higher, you can risk this card. Again, going back to that theme of Dengeki Bunko really wants you to play level 1 and 2s and higher. Have a 2k counter. You have a Kirito and Asuna, level assist, and then Rest Self, startup, reveal top card. If it's a level 1 or lower character, like they can't make up their mind about this kind of thing, you know? Then give whatever character is 2001 soul. Excuse me, guys. Drink some more water. Alright, this level 0 is on play. Send in one of your opponent's characters to memory and then they come back immediately, so it can get rid of any lingering cross-turn effects. Or it can get rid of something that has a bunch of markers. And then also on play, you can discard a card, and then if you do look at top X, or you can put a card from your hand into clock, and if you do look at top X and add one from your deck, where X equals the number of other Dengeki Bunko or Flock-like characters you have. So if you have a full board and you play this, you can top check up to 4. Nice thing about this card is it doesn't cost any stock, and you also get to add anything without showing your opponent. Okay. Alright, we have this 2/3 hollow counter. If you have 2 or less characters, you can't play this card, so you need 3 or more characters. And then give one of your characters 1500, and on reverse of that battle opponent that turn, you burn 3. Actually kind of potent, eh? Obviously, 3 stock for 1500 power is way below par, but if your opponent is crashing in some level 0 or some nonsense, then you can just use this as a pay 3, burn 3. Honestly, the economics behind the pay 3, burn 3 is not that shabby. It's honestly pretty good. Burn 3 is generally costed at 4 as a level 2 counter. So the fact that if conditionally you can burn 3, and it's also a counter, and normally burn events aren't counters, this does make it worth considering. And then our rare is this Akko from the, I think it's like, Netoge is a short term, but like you can't meet your wife on your online game. The light novel titles are too long, too obnoxious. It's like they're summarizing the entire show in the title. It's not a competition. You do not need to go that long. I think this is just called Netoge. So this is a level assist 500. And then start at pay 1, rest itself, and then reveal top. If that's a level 1 or higher, you actually get to heal 1. This is a really potent card. Obviously, still sticking with a theme of wanting to run level 1 or higher. But if you have some way to confirm your top check beforehand during your main phase, obviously, oh, it's a level 1. I can just pay 1, heal 1. Essentially, the normal cost and effect is you can pay 2, rest self, heal 1. But this is exactly half off. And the only caveat is you just have to top check. So if you can build your deck towards it, I think this card has a lot of potential to help you just like heal every single turn. Ooh, this is one of my favorite cards from this set, and it's common. It's a Urusihara and Ashia from Harahata Kumao-sama, Devil is the Part-Timer. This is a really exciting card for me because it is one of the super good off finishers in the set. It's on play heal, and then on attack you can pay 1, discard 2, and all of your other characters gets on a activates up to once per turn when damage dealt by this card is not cancelled. You can burn 1. So this has a lot of synergy with cards that want to cancel, funnily enough. Notably, I have put this card together with the level 3 Asuna of the set, hopefully which we'll pull and talk about later. But basically, Asuna has an effect where if they cancel, you get to do more damage. But then if you put the Ashia's effect on Asuna, then if they don't cancel, they'll do more damage. And then if they cancel the P1, they get to take the cancel burn anyway. So it's like, if you cancel, you take more damage. If you don't cancel, you take more damage. If you cancel by the effect of not canceling, you take more damage. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. And this is a Shana card that you can consider in your deck. 2 or less climaxes, -1 level. On play, draw 1. And then this card does not get a soul penalty from sighting for the turn. And then when your other character is frontal attacked, you can kill itself and they get 4/5. Not a card that people would normally run in Shana, mostly because blue is such an awkward color to fit in Shana. Yellow and red just have too many good Shana cards. But it's flavor. It's flavor. Okay, we have the other Spice and Wolf. It's not called Spice and Wolf. It's like something else. But it's basically like the same theme of like wolf/fox deity meets guy. This is a good card though because you can. It's one of those very premier profiles nowadays where like resource manipulation is such a premium. This card is on play. You can choose 1 card in hand and put it into your stock. So this effect is really sought after by players nowadays. And also, if you on play, if you have 2 more other characters, you can draw 1, discard one. So super good utility card here. Okay, this Shizuku and Honoka. I promise I'm not gonna go through every card, but just the ones that are interesting. Spoilers, I find most of these cards interesting. So this Shizuku and Honoka is on play. You can pay to refresh. So you shuffle all your cards you're waiting back into your deck. And also on play, reveal top. If it's a level 2 or higher card, then you can put it into stock. So if you do hit that confirm, then the refresh actually only costs you 1. Or if you just have a top check somewhere, level 2 or higher, you can just play this card and you get a free stock. Atachi and Shimamura. This is a beater that summons another copy of itself. So it's 2/5 if you 2/5 level 1 if you have the copy of itself, and it's on play you can discard a card and summon a copy of itself from the deck. So it's a really good 1-2 punch. Definitely a card that is good both going first and going second. Going first, you can just summon 1 in the back row, and you'll just have to your opponent deal with a 3/5 level 1. Going second, you can just have 2 3/5 level 1s attacking on your very first turn, even if you only have 1 copy of this. Okay, we have Kuroiki Hime and Fuko. This is a wind support, so if the classic Accel Road fans didn't want to play 8 wind with the new level 1 Hime wind into the level 3 Bond of the Accelerated World Kuroiki Hime from Infinite Burst, this is specific support for that deck. Level 6, 500 times number of level, and also when you trigger check a wind climax, you can pay 1. And if you do, look at the top 2 cards of your deck, choose 1 among them, add it to your hand, and discard the rest. So you can pay that dirty trigger out and get some deck speed and plussing off of it, no problem. Okay, our rare for this is some good Avatar Weapon Legacy support for Sword Art, and just a strong card in its own right. This Kirito Asuna is on play. If you have another character, they get 2,000, putting them up to 6,000. And Accelerate, on attack, you can pay 1, and clock 1 from top of your deck and discard 1 to surge 2. This is an extremely good effect. The timing of it is really strong. Being able to pay out a climax that you trigger from a previous attacker, being able to discard a climax that you may have triggered, because it can discard anything, and searching 2 without a climax combo is very premium. Now, this is not something that obviously you can do during main phase to search for playables during that turn, but it is a good go-aheader into getting your playables for next turn and having that extra. This is particularly synergistic if you run something like Pants, because if you trigger a Pants, you can salvage another climax, and then this character attacks, you pay out the Pants that you triggered, you discard the other climax that you salvage off of the Pants, so you get both of those out of your way in one go for your next deck rotation. Clock yourself, search for 2 clean cards. Very, very powerful. Our climax is the climax for the level 3 Asuna finisher, which we have already mentioned we hopefully can pull. In every box we do expect 5 double rares, so hopefully we are able to pull a good amount of them. Obviously with 2 boxes we can't pull all of them, but anything that we do miss, I will go ahead and review them at the end of the video. This Minori is a card that I really like. On play, pay 1, discard 1, salvage a Bunko character, and then give another character 1000. And then on reverse in battle, you can reveal the top card of your deck. If it's a level 2 or higher, bounce back to your hand. So again, really emphasizing a low 0 count and a high level 1 or level 2 plus count. But honestly, you don't even have to warp your deck for this particular card. Just having a drop salvager, if that's the profile you need, this is something that offers that profile. And sometimes you could just get lucky and get a free +1 for no reason because of that secondary effect. It doesn't even cost that much. I think it costs like 1000 power on this card or something. We have a Bunny Girl card. This is the Nodoka, and this card does come signed. This gives one of your characters the ability where they cannot get reversed during the turn. So obviously it's meant to be a counter that doesn't give power, but it doesn't also care about power. You don't want something reversed, you want to deny an on-reverse effect, this will get the job done. Okay, this Erica Leo is a very good climax supporter, pants supporter. On play, reveal top card of a deck. If it's Dengeki Bunko characters, this card gets 3000 cross turn, putting them up to 8-5. And then on attack, all of your characters get, when you trigger a climax, you can pay 1, and then put the top card of your deck into stock and give one of your characters 2000. So if you trigger a climax, immediately pay it out, blind stock 1. The blind stock might also be a climax, but at the very least you know that the climax you triggered is not in your stock, so you can keep your stock clean without actually paying it out in terms of like minusing stock. So it keeps your stock parity. And then you can also just give a character 2k. The fact that you can assign 2k somewhere is what makes this card, I think, really, really powerful. Because let's say you really need to beat over like one particular lane, you'll have 3 chances to do so, even if you trigger a climax on the lane that you that doesn't matter power-wise. You can use that 2k to assign it to that lane that actually matters. So you have a lot of chances to just get incidental 2k power when you have this Erica. And if you don't, well, hey, that means you didn't trigger any climaxes, and that's perfectly fine as well. I'm not sure what this series is from. I'm not gonna lie. But it's definitely a Schwarz theme series. This looks very serious. She has a gun, all that stuff. But yeah. This is a classic. This is Durarara. This is one of the old school like fantasies. Like, oh man, it's so stylistic too. It's like you see it's if you guys have seen the chick with an all-black suit and a bike helmet, her name is Celti. That is the show that she is from, Durarara. Definitely recommended. It's an old-time classic. The new Alley cast. This is the can't meet girls on an online game or whatever thingy. Anyways. Okay, our rare is this Taiga. This Taiga is a level 1 combo, so if you want to run 8 choice Toradora with the level 3 Minori, Taiga, and Ami from the trial deck, you can pair this up with this level 1 Taiga. Actually a really strong card. On play, this card gets 500 times the number of characters your opponent has, so if your opponent enters the full board on their turn, this card will always be on play for 7k. And then Climax combo on reverse with her own choice Climax, you can look at up to the top 3 cards of a deck and choose up to 2 and add them to your hand and discard the rest. So this is just a straight +2. The selectivity might not be great, but she does offer a good amount of deck speed with a mill 3, And if hand size is all you care about, then hand size is what Taiga's gonna get you. So honestly, one of the definitely one of the considerations for your level 1 options and when you are considering things in a competitive light. But there are a couple of other options you can consider as well, including a particular level 2 Yukina that hopefully we will see as a double rare. For our climax, we definitely have one of the best climaxes of the set, not only in terms of art. I think the visuals here are just gorgeous, of Shana with her ordinary black hair with school uniform, all the birds around her. But this is the climax combo for the level 3 Shana. Level 3 Shana is a double rare that hopefully we'll be getting to see, and is one that I'm sure a lot of people are hoping to pull from their booster boxes. And that particular climax also comes signed, and it is absolutely gorgeous. Now this is a pretty interesting card. I'm not quite sure what the series is, but this character has 2 names, Akiha / Haruka Minase. Oh, I guess the trait the trait kind of gives it away, huh? This is a split personality trait. But I assume that like the effect is pretty flavor, because on play you can put another copy of itself from your weight room underneath this as a marker. And when this has a marker, this gets 6k1. So this is a 1/0, 8k, 2-soul beater. If you want a beater that just gets the job done and maybe sticks around for a couple turns, I think this is honestly not that bad of a consideration. Not that bad. Ooh, we have this absolute gorgeous card on the 1/1 Lena. This is definitely the card I am looking forward to in terms of trying to pull for myself. It's a 1/1 level assist. At the beginning of your climax phase, choose one of your characters and they get another level assist boost. And then Stardust Rest herself, give one of your characters +1 level across turn. So essentially that can give it anywhere from an additional 500 because of her continuous level assist effect, or from the extra bonus level assist power from the auto start of climax phase. But yeah, the art. I mean, like, I can't just reiterate how much I love the 86 series, and I think Lena is super cute. Such a good character, just cares so much. Yeah, go check it out, guys. Alright, speaking of characters that I really like that I want in my collection, we have the 1/0 Asuna. I am definitely an Asuna collector. During your turn, +1000 per every other one of your characters. And when damage dealt by this card is cancelled, you can choose one card your opponent's weight and put it on top of their deck. Huh. Very interesting. If this card attacks last, you can just make their next draw something that they definitely don't want. Including climaxes, honestly. Or if this is in the middle of your attack, if you attack with this first or second and they cancel, you can just make their next attack a lot more likely to stick. And she does have a 7500 power attacking base if you have a full board. So hey, this card is not that bad. Not that bad at all. The Alistair, this is from Index. I am not sure what this is. Obviously, you guys can tell from the art itself, this is probably just one of those really old school series. But yeah, this is intended to be a standby target. It's a 1175 hand encore. The thing with standby in this set though is that like they're kind of locked into like, well, not, you don't have to be locked, but like all the climax combos kind of are like the basketball lolly club theme, the Ryo Kubu theme. So there's not a lot of reasons to run like 75 hand encores, but it's there. Have a Hekate. This is a twin driver. Now this card is something. Okay, follow. Just hear me out, guys. When this is placed on stage from hand, you can choose one copy of itself in weight room and put it face up underneath the marker. So it's similar exact effect as like this one. With a copy of itself underneath as marker. And then this other effect is if there is a marker underneath this card, it gets 6k. And then the character in front of this card cannot side. And then on reverse, you can put this opponent's character into the opponent's stock, and then they move the bottom stock. So this is like a permanent stock kicker on a 2/1 11k cross turn. Very interesting. Very interesting. I think this is one of those cards where you definitely would be like meta consideration, or if you just want to be really, really annoying and your opponent triggered like a climax their previous turn, you make it that much harder for them to pay it out because you just bury it one card deeper by putting the character on top of their stock. So Alright, and our rare is a level 1 Brainstorm, which is it summons cost zeros. So it's not something that we see very often, but here it is. Cost 0 summoner from Waiting Room Brainstorm, but she also just has like 1 trillion different other effects. So the first other effect is your other middle character in center stage gets 1500 power. When you trigger check a climax, you can give one of your opponent's characters in their front row minus 500 power. And then she also has startup, pay 1, draw 1, discard 1. So front middle power, when your character triggers checks a climax, minus 500, pay 1, draw 1, discard 1, tap self, cost 0 Brainstorm. Would we run this? Depends. If there are some cool builds, maybe some cost zeros you want to keep spamming. But the fact that this is a 1-0 instead of a 0-0 really hampers its potential. Because there are cost 0 Brainstormers at level 0 out there in other Neo standards. And it's really fun to use those because you can potentially cheat out like 1-0s. Or even nowadays you have like 2-0s, you know. But being a 1-0, it kind of limits your potential. But it does exist. And here we have a Kyokai Senjo no Horizon Climax. This is on the pants. I just realized we haven't talked about the number of foils we expect per box. So we do have 1 foil here so far, but we are expecting 2 foils. Unfortunately, it is only 2, even though the entire set does come SRs. I think it's probably because half the set is just SPs. We have like 86 SRs and 64 SPs. But if we do pull a signature, it is actually a bonus. It does not replace the 2 SRs that we pull every single box for sure. It would be a 3rd additional foil in form of the SP if we do pull it. So, alright, this is an index counter from Index Railgun, and it is a memory kick. So, every single list we do check out. Okay, do we have anti-change? Do we have memory kick? We gotta check out the counter options, and Dengeki Bunko, I do believe they have all of the typical counters that we do want and look for. Oh, this is a 3-5 helmet. Very super solid. 3-5 beater. All your characters cannot side, and then also start up, discard a card, sack this, salvage a character. Also another one of those fundamental profiles that we want to see in every single Neo standard, just to have the ability for that effect. But it being 3-5 is also just means you don't mind running additional copies of it. Normally a helmet profile, the discard self, sack self, discard, sack self, salvage. It's something that you generally run as like a 1-of or 2-of at most. But as a 3-5, you honestly probably wouldn't even feel bad if you run this at like 3 or 4, right? Because it does serve the other function of also being your potential turn 1 play, and you wouldn't feel bad about it at all. And unlike other beaters, this card will always have its utility throughout the entire game. Here we have a Kuroneko. This is a bar support. You'll see that all of the Kuroneko, all the Ora Emo, and Eromanga Sensei cards are all green, and they are all kind of like, if they are Climax specific supports, they are all gold bar supports, because all the Climaxes for those 2 series are all gold bar. Alright, here we have our second foil. I'm not sure what this particular series is as well, but this is a level 0 reverser, and also on play mill 2, and then if all of those cards are Dengeki Bunko characters, choose one of your opponent's level 3 or lower characters in back row, and they cannot stand on their next stand phase. So it's kind of like an anti-brainstorm, an anti-standby, but you do need to mill 2 and have both of those hit. The art is cool. It is reflective of like some older, kind of like maybe more punk style. We do see this has the Schwarz black frame, so this is a Schwarz card. Those are 2 foils, but like I mentioned, hey, if the SP is there, it would not be in one of these slots, so you never know until the very last pack for Dengeki Bunko. Here we have a 4K beater, a Hataraku Mao-sama card. Here we have a really interesting Climax combo. So this is another level 1 that you can definitely consider for your Climax combo. Combos on the door. On play, she gets 2K and also the following effect until the opponent's next turn. During opponent's turn, when this card is reversed, it's a level 1 reverser. So if your opponent is level 1, you reverse them. So she gets the 2K power on play for your turn, and then she gets the effect where on your opponent's turn, she becomes a level 1 reverser. And then Climax combo on attack with the door, reveal the top card of the deck and salvage level X or lower equal to the level of the revealed card. So it has good selectivity. Unfortunately, it doesn't have deck speed, so if you want to run this all over a non-out card, you do want to add a good amount of external ways to go through your deck. Maybe something like the level 0 line you do have to look into, or you can play like that blue 1/0 Sword Art event that helps you mill 4. But if you want selectivity, this card is honestly one of the best. And having the ability to trade for your opponent's board on cross turn is honestly really strong as well. And her attacking for 7k on your turn means that she probably will reverse whatever she's battling, live to tell the tale, and be able to trade favorably 100% of the time almost if your opponent's still at level 1 the following turn. And the next turn you get to open up your lanes and just push for more soul damage. The math on this card actually comes out to be very strong. Okay, we're approaching the finishing of the first half of our box. I just realized we haven't pulled any double rares yet, so they will be coming along quite soon, I would imagine. Okay, this Ami is another one of those cute texts. It's a card that can move your opponent's characters. So start up, you can discard, or you can put one of your other characters on stage to win him, and then put this card at the bottom of your deck. So card's going everywhere way. And then choose one of your opponent's characters and move it to another open position of their stage. Yeah, we have this Asagi. This Asagi is meant to be a conjunction card for the level 2 double rare Yukina. So I'll put this aside and I'll talk about this card if we do pull the Yukina here. We have the one Bakano card. The one Bakano card in the set. Obviously, us Western fans, we do love our Bakano, one of the classics, right? Also worth noting that this card's particular set code is GBC, and we do have a set called Girls Band Cry coming out in the future. And the reason why that set is not called GBC, Girls Band Cry, is because Bakano, this one card exists. This one card is just blocking GBC's entire existence in terms of Girls Band Cry. Kind of funny. Alright, and then we do have a rare. This is a Asuna that gives... This is also support for a particular 3-2 Asuna, so I guess we'll talk about that when we get there. This climax is the climax for the 1-0 Taiga. Yeah, so there's a lot of like 1-2 card packages in this set. They have a lot to do with double rares. I know Shana has one as well, so we'll get to those when we get there. We have this 2-2 Irie. This is part of the kind of like the 8 standby Ryukobu deck. It's kind of like this Exodia package of like 5 different of the lolly girls on one basketball team. And then if you have all 5 girls on the same team on the same board, then you can use this like event counter, and it's like a money counter. But yeah. Now this card is interesting. This is Shana. Is your front middle character gets 15. And then when your character's trigger check reveals the climax, you can pay 1 and sack it to salvage a character. So you can just immediately pay out the climax, sack it, and then salvage 1. It can function as a fine attacker in the front row, honestly, because like you can attack with this first, and then if your second or third attack triggers and reveals the climax, you can just immediately pay 1 and then just pay 1 plus 1 basically, right? And you don't feel too bad about it because the Shana would have died on the opponent's swing back anyways, and it's a good way to pay out the climax. A really interesting card. One would think that this has standby synergy, but because of the timing of you need to activate the standby first, you can't trigger standby, activate Shana, send her to waiting room salvage, and then activate standby because you'll have missed timing, but unfortunate. Now this is the anti-change counter of the set. The cost is pay 2 and sack 1 of your characters on stage. And then you do anti-change their opponent's higher level character into their clock after they heal 1. So you heal 1 and then they send it to clock. Okay, we have this Kino's Journey event. Mill 4 and then choose one level 1 or choose one level X or lower Dengeki Bunko character, salvage it, equals the number of soul triggers you milled. So you definitely want to play this in something like a pants deck or like a standby deck or something that has triggers. The more triggers you have, the more likely you are to be able to build level 1, 2, 3 cards. And then it goes to memory. And then when you have another copy of this exact event in memory, you are able to discard 1 card and put both of these events in your memory face down. And then if you do, you can heal 1. So if you are running a bunch of this event already, you can basically just say, hey, I paid 2 and discarded 1 to heal 1, except I also got to like have some deck fix in the middle of it, some milling, some selectivity. So it's definitely a card you want to play as a 4-of. Whether or not you want to run it as a 4-of 1/1 event is up to you. But the extra heal doesn't hurt. Okay, we have a 2/1 Kino and her bike. Another aerial. Okay, here we do have our second climax swapper for the set. Like I mentioned on the Weiss trial deck opening, this is your other option if you want to try something else. While the Misaka Mikoto is just always a 3k, this Nico is a 3/5 on play. So during on play 15, and then it's also a climax swapper. It's a bit of a shame that both of the climax swappers in this set are yellow. I kind of wish they would have given the set a bit more color choice in terms of having two cards be the exact same profile. Is kind of a bit of lost opportunity in my opinion. But at the same time, it is really nice that they did give these cards to particularly Neo standards that didn't have climax swappers before. So Accel Roll finally has their climax swapper, and obviously when this set came out in JP, Index Rogan has their own Neo standard in the Japanese game, and they finally got their own climax swapper for the first time as well. So I get it. But they totally could have made the Nico red though, because Nico is red in the original Accel Roll series. I'm just saying. Still no double rare. We have a whole other side to go. So much good stuff coming up. Yeah, no double rare. Okay, so our rare this pack is a 2/1 Kirino Kyosuke. Obviously, this is another bar support. When you have a climax with bar in your climax area, all of your other 3/2 Kirinos get bar trigger, and it's level assist. So this is super interesting because the 3/2 Kirino that gets bar is actually your finisher. So it's like, if you don't have your finishers yet and you play bar, you can add them to your hand and blind stock 1. So you actually have the finishers and your hand going into level 3. So it's definitely a really cute card. And here we have a combo for, I think it's a 3/2 Anos that we haven't seen yet. Okay. Another Lena, another Asuna, another Crowley. Okay, so this is the Exodia event that I was talking about for the 8 standby Ryukobu deck. It actually has 2 different effects. So it's a 2/0 event. If you have a character, a Dengeki Bunko character, you can choose any of the characters that has any of the 5 girls' names on them and add them back to your hand. So it's a 2/0 salvage 1 event. Or if you have literally Exodia, so if you have 1 Tomoka, 1 Maho, 1 Saki, 1 Airi, and 1 Hinata, you can pay 3 and rest one of your characters. Now, the actual board in question that you can that you have to get this off is not super strong, but hey, I mean, like, the flavor's there. If you want to build a standby Ryukobu, I mean, the pieces are all there, so. Ooh, okay. Finally, we have a double rare, and this is honestly such a good double rare too. We have the 3/2 Horizon from Kyokai Senjo no Horizon. This is an early play healer, 4 more, -1 level. Gets 1000 power for each of your opponent's back rows, so goes to 10/5. And then on play, you can discard 1 card. And then if you do, you have the option of choosing 1 card in your clock and adding it back to your hand. What a unique effect. It doesn't just heal, but it actually hand fixes for you. And what's important about this is that it also has the ability to add events and climaxes. So notably, we always bemoan our own fate when we take a refresh point on our new refresh and it's a climax and it's like, oh no, I'm playing the next deck refresh with 1 less climax because of RNG. No, Horizon says we take our bad luck and we convert it into tempo. We convert it into a climax combo. We convert it into some pressure. Grab that climax that you refreshed, play that 1k1, assert some pressure. We turn our bad luck into good fortune with this card. But otherwise, it's just a normal healer. 4 more is honestly one of the premier early play conditions. We almost always will have that condition every single turn. And honestly, I think it's also just the only early play here in the set. We can't complain. The one healer that we do have as an early play is very high quality. So, Okay, so this is a particular support for the 3-2 finisher from our trial deck that I mentioned earlier. So this 2-1 Ryuji and Taiga is honestly such a good card. So it's a level 6 500 times number of levels. We actually have quite a few of those in this set. And then Startup rests itself and choose one of the characters, and they get 2,000 power and lunchbox until the end of turn. And if the total number of markers in your marker area is 3 or less, you can choose a Dengeki Bunko character in your waiting and marker this, put it underneath this card as a marker. So if your whole stage has a cumulative 3 markers or less, you can get 1 marker. And if you would pay the cost for this 3-2 finisher or the double rare Taiga, which is a climax swapper, if you would pay the cost for those in your hand, basically when you play them, you normally will need to pay the 2 stock for either the Taiga level 3 or this Minori level 3. You can use 2 markers underneath this card for 1 stock. So essentially what that means is you play this card and it'll over 2 turns pay for itself. Because the 2-1 assist, tap, get a marker, tap, get a marker. When you play the 3-2, you remove those 2 markers for 1 stock. But it's not as if you're just like getting some free compression or putting it down for the next card. You just get to assign 2,000 power every single turn. Like, that's kind of crazy, right? Especially considering that the Minori finisher does want to reverse to burn. This card is already 13k by itself. You put this in the back row and that's 14.5. You tap it and that's 16.5. You get a 16.5 attacker that you pay for 1 stock for. That's if you're playing this finisher, I would highly recommend putting in maybe like 2 copies of this. Super, super, super good card. Okay, I need to put this back. Hope you guys are hanging along with me. We do have quite a bit to cover today. This video is probably going to go on for like almost 2 hours, but hey, who's complaining? Randos may be complaining. I'm not complaining. Okay, and then our rare is the aforementioned Anos combo that combos with this particular door that we pulled last pack. This is what I like to call a DIY Marika. My Marika from Nisekoi, the old Japanese Nisekoi, on attack burn 1, restand on attack burn 1. This is you do it yourself, but it needs a climax combo. So during the turn that this card is placed on stage from hand, when you attack, you can discard 1 to burn 1 and it gets 2k. Okay? So during the turn that is played, you can discard 1, burn 1. And then climax combo, at the end of this card's attack, you can pay 1, discard 2, and kill the climax you have in your climax area to restand this. So they put this limitation down for you to not be able to just have like 2 Anos, and then you're just like, I have a brilliant hand. I'm gonna restand and ping 1, and restand and ping 1, and restand ping 1, and they don't want to make that mistake again. So they did limit it to just the 1 copy. I mean, honestly speaking for itself, the fact that it doesn't have an on-play effect is a really big downside. And if you count just his own cost, if you want to go all in on the restand and double burn, he consumes a good amount of your hand already. The climax that you need, and burn 1, and the 2 restands, he takes 5 cards by himself. But you do have that very nice guarantee of being able to swing, burn 1, swing for 3, kill the climax, front, burn 1, swing for 2. Since the climax is a continuous climax type with the 1k1, once it leaves the field, your characters no longer have that extra 1001 soul. It is really nice that the Anos gets 2000 on attack. One of the things that this can lose to is memory kick. If your character is lower and you get memory kicked, you do not actually reach the end of attack for him to be able to restand. So the fact that he can attack for 13.5 naturally on the very first swing is really nice and helps you dodge those 10k base power plus 3k memory kick lines. That is very, very common. And here we have an Index Climax, and this actually combos with a level 3 Index and Toma that we haven't seen yet. As you guys can see, we've gone through almost 1 box, and there are so many cards that we haven't seen yet just because the set is 150 cards. Our second double rare, we have the 1-0 Sagiri from Eromanga Sensei. 4-5 during your turn plus 1k, so 5-5 during your turn. On attack, if you have 3 or more other characters, top check 3, add 1 Dengeki Bunko, reveal to your opponent, add to hand, and then choose one of your characters and then it gets 1000. So, very vanilla effect, but no, sometimes vanilla is just what you need to get done. Compared to the Climax combo from the Weiss Schwarz trial deck, where it is top check 4 at a level 1 or higher, this card is top check 3 at any Dengeki Bunko. So if you did want to have the ability to add level 0 characters, then the Sagari is obviously going to be your choice. And for the purposes of the 8-bar thematic incest deck, this is one of your options of your early game combo. You can choose to run the Kuro Neko level 0 bar combo as well. You do have 2 different options there. But if you just want something a bit more straightforward, Sagari will get the job done. And we have one of my favorite cards, for reasons, I did say I liked ISA, but this is actually a really powerful card as well. On attack, give one of your characters 2000 power, as long as you have 3 or more other characters. So just assignable 2k, including herself, so she can just give herself to be 6k. And also, on play, you can shuffle 2 characters back into your waiting room, and then she gets 1000 power and Twin Drive. Shuffle back 2 is an extremely flexible effect. You would be able to, for example, if you had 3 cards left in deck and 2 of them were climaxes, you want to brainstorm to send the climaxes back into your waiting room for the refresh. But then if you brainstorm with 3 cards left in deck, they don't go back. But you can play the ISA first, shuffle 2 characters back, you have a 5-card deck now. Then you brainstorm for 4, you hit those 2 climaxes into your waiting room, you plus 2 from your waiting room, and you get to shove all those cards back into your deck. The Twin Drive is also extremely useful. This is obviously meant to go in conjunction with the 3-2 Kirino, in conjunction with the 2-1 Kirino and Kyosuke effect, where the 2-1 Kyosuke will give all your 3-2 Kirinos the go bar. If you have those in waiting room, you can use the ISA to shove back the 3-2 Kirinos, and then once you trigger them, they'll go to your hand. And this even has the built-in effect of being able to Twin Drive, so you have more chances to trigger what you want. Just a super flexible card. This is one of the MVPs of green in my personal opinion. Just a really, really flexible, unique, powerful card. Alright, let's see what we have. Ooh, we have this common. This is definitely one of the standout commons of the set. We have this level 0 pod from Accel World with Accelerate, as you would. At the beginning of a climax phase, you can put the top card of your deck into clock, and if you do, this card gets the effect for the turn where, on attack, look at the top card of your deck and either put it on the top or bottom, and then just clean cut a character. You can just choose one of the characters, rest it, and move it to open position backstage. Now, clean cut is an effect that we obviously know requires a reverse, but this is just, we clock ourselves, and then we always get it. So it doesn't matter if you can't reverse anything. It doesn't matter if if your opponent's board is empty. This will always give you a +1 as long as you have an empty slot in your back row. And the fact that it also just comes with that extra top check top or bottom effect, it helps you, maybe get one closer to triggering climax. It helps you dodge triggering climaxes. If you see a climax, you can put it on the bottom, so you don't trigger it. You still save it in your deck for canceling. What a powerful card. And I think this card is particularly good in the frame of Dengeki Bunko because the set's philosophy is so dictated on wanting you to run as many level 1 or higher cards as possible. We have seen at this point so many handfuls of cards now where they do want to check for level 1 or even level 2 and higher cards to get the beneficial effects. Now, the Pado being a 1-card solution to help you get a potential +1 and convert any of your other level 0s into playable attackers in even your back row. Like, you can just open the Pard, and then you can open a Brainstorm, and you can attack twice, and you don't even sweat. You don't even bat an eye at it, because you can always save that Brainstorm by accelerating. So it improves the quality of your level 0 line drastically. It makes you, it'll let you be on par with your opponent's aggression, or be very aggressive yourself, without the repercussion of losing those characters and not needing to worry about reversing. So this is the card that I think is just, it'll form the foundation of a lot of Dengeki Bunko builds that want to keep their level 0 count to a minimum, because this card increases the value of every single one of your other level 0s to, at the very least, be very, just an attacker, right? No, your Brainstorms being able to attack is just like, it's the most feel-good thing in the world. Yeah, we do have this just and big climax combo. This is a I want to say that this is a climax combo in which like it's kind of disappointing, but she does have this effect of on play you can pay one salvage a climax, so you will oftentimes see people just play this as a one-off in decks that don't run her climax combo just for that pay one climax salvage climax. But her actual climax combo is on attack, if you have two more others, heal one and all of your characters get 1,000. So you're saying, Mike, this card seems pretty good. If you can bring it out level 2, surely there's a changer. No, there is no changer. There is no support for this card, as far as I remember. Yeah, you just heal one. So unfortunately, nowadays at level 3, 3-0 is not even that safe. And we have so many finishers that just heal by themselves on play. That the climax combo for this card, unfortunately, is really not worth running. But, you know, like again, the on-play pay 1 salvage a climax could be worth considering in your build. Double rare Hime, let's go. Okay, so our third double rare for the box is the level 1 Kuriki Hime, which combos with a Wind, Turbulent Recreation. First effect is if all of your characters are Dengeki Bunko or Avatar or Net, then it gets 3,000 power, putting her up at 6,000. Climax combo, if you have 6 or less hand, choose one of your characters in your waiting room, salvage it, and then reveal the top card of your deck. And then if it's a level 2 or higher, then you get to trigger twice. What a strange card. What a strange set of effects to have. So obviously we do have that guaranteed salvage, which is really nice. But then if we top check a 2, we trigger twice. So it's not as if we get a free, it's kind of like getting a free stock, but we don't always get a free stock. It's like if it's a 2 or higher, we get a free stock. I guess it is nice because we do get a trigger instead of just setting it to stock, so she will get that extra soul trigger if it is a level 2 or higher character, generally speaking. But yeah, it's you basically think of it as, I'm going to get that salvage. It's a 6k body. It's on a wind. And then incidentally, if I reveal a level 2 or higher, I get that free stock. But I think for most decks, you probably shouldn't count on it, right? Most decks are not going to have an extremely high level 2 plus count. Maybe like 10 or 12 at most, but that's still only a fourth of your deck. So consider it a bonus. Don't feel bad if you missed the level 2 top check the majority of the time. Just think of it as like, hey, this isn't a bonus on the card, and I just get to on-attack salvage. Okay, so this is, I think, one of the last cards. Oh no, I have a Mai left that we haven't seen. So this is one of the other cards for Bunny Girl. Bunny Girl only has a handful of cards in the set. But it's on play, you can, on play or on death, you can discard Climax and salvage Dengeki Bunko or Adolescence. So obviously you can put this in your Bunny Girl deck. But this is just kind of a good way to, it's a good slot in for something like 8 pants or 8 bar. Being on play and on death allows you to just play this, get something on your on your main phase, attack with it, and then if you trigger the bar during your attack phase, you can, on waiting room, discard that bar and salvage something else. So you can just keep your hand nice and clean from those treasures. Okay, and for our rare, we have this level 0 Lena. On play, you can activate the following twice, where you look at the top card of your deck and leave it on top or mill it. And then on play, choose one of your level 2 or higher characters, and they get 3,000 power. So it's a nice card to be able to kind of like confirm your top cards during main phase. If you're trying to hit a brainstorm, you're able to essentially perform like a 6-card brainstorm by top checking and then milling it if it's not a climax. So hey, not a bad filter card at all. And then you can give one of your level 2 and higher's plus 3k. And there are a good amount of strategies that use the level 2 and higher cards in Dengeki Bunko, so you can definitely consider this. And this is one of the standbys for the basketball team, the Ryukobu team. Roll Kyubu! Roll Kyubu! I said I swore I would stick with one. And here I am, just still not sticking with one. Okay, we have this, not Horizon. I haven't watched the show, so she looked like Horizon, but she's not Horizon. Obviously, this is from the same show. But it's a bottom deck bomb. And then on play, give one of our characters 1,000. Oh, this is actually support for the 3-2 Anos finisher, this Misha. So, activates once per turn. During your turn, when you use an act, you can choose one of your opponent's characters and put it into memory, and then they come back in any position. which is really interesting because she actually has her actor self, so it's kind of like a self-contained package. Second effect is at the beginning of the climax phase, you can choose one of your 3/2 Anos, Lei and Anos, and you just give it 3,000. So remember how I was saying that one of the weaknesses of this potential card is that if it gets memory kicked, you don't get to restand. Well, now this card is also just 16/5. So what are they gonna do, you know? And then her last effect is start a pay one, rest herself. Choose one of your characters, and they get on reverse salvage. So the two effects by themselves, the blink on startup and also the pay one tap self give character salvage is honestly just a fine card to run on its own if you do have red. It is a 1/0. But if you are playing the 3/2 autos, then obviously this is just extra icing on the cake. Ooh, Kanako. This Kanako is a pretty cool card. It's a start of your opponent's attack phase. You can pay 2, bounce this back to bounce one of the other characters back. So it's kind of like the Bell profile from Danmachi or the level 0 Ainz from Nazarick, except instead of paying 1 and clocking yourself, you pay 2. The pay 2 effect, arguably, you could say is maybe a bit worse than pay 1 clock yourself, but I think it is slightly better as you go into the mid game. Obviously, clocking yourself becomes significantly worse value-wise compared to the early game, where damage can be taken much more liberally as a resource. But this does help you. I think one of the main uses for this, and I think the designers designed it as such, the reason why this is an Aura Emo card is because Kirino 3/2 requires 1 trillion hand. So being able to exceed hand size during your opponent's turn will help you with that. The Kanako being able to bounce yourself and the character means that if you have 7 cards, you can go up to 9 cards and then draw for 10 cards at the beginning of your opponent's next turn. So very nice card there. And obviously early game you can just tri-field, use Kanako, bounce 2 back. Hey, it's not bad. Okay, and then we have this 1/0 Kojo, which is a companion piece to the 2/1 Yukina from Strike the Blood that we have not seen yet. And here we have the climax for the 2/1 Yukina from Strike the Blood, which I have not seen yet. So hopefully we see it. Look at all these cards that I have put on the side. Like, if any, these two cards actually work with the same Yukina. So like, this is definitely the Yukina waiting room. We are waiting for Yukina. Okay, helmet, gold bar support, Minase, so this is the Kuro Neko combo. This is the combo that goes with the lovely SR climax that we pulled here. Really interesting effect on the climax combo. When you play the climax, if you have 2 more other characters, reveal top, and then if it is a character, then add it to your hand. And then when your character's trigger check reveals the climax, you can discard 1 card and rest this to salvage a character. So for example, if you trigger a bar, rest it, salvage anything. So basically it turns your bars into doors, if you want to think of it like that. It's not quite the same. There are still the implications of the blind stock, and you do need to pay the cost for it. But it can turn an unfavorable trigger into a favorable one. Now, obviously, if you trigger a Kuro Neko bar, you probably want to keep it. But if you trigger like a Kirino bar, the level 3 Kirino, and you're just at level 0, you don't need it. Just discard it and salvage something that you actually do want. I have tested with this quite a bit, and you can make it work. It's like you can put this, and then you can use like the 1/0 ISA as your one of your primary attackers. Being able to shove back targets that you want, and then being able to attack with them is something that is potentially really powerful as a 1-2 punch, right? So it's like, okay, I want to add X and Y cards for my waiting room. I'm going to shuffle back those 2 cards with ISA. It makes my deck less compressed, which is obviously something that is a bit weird to think about, but because Kuro Neko does top check add, it kind of works, right? It kind of does work. And then her second effect of triggering a climax, it can also synergize with ISA quite well, being able to trend drive so that you can go closer to hitting a gold bar, and then when you trigger gold bar, that acts as an additional plus that you can convert it into any salvaged character. So it requires a lot of extra deck building principles because, like, obviously the Kuro Neko you do want multiples of, ideally, but that does take up a back row slot. So maybe you can have one front row, one back row, and you still have your brainstorm. But if you have double Kuroneko and back row, then you won't have a brainstorm slot. So that can be a really big issue in and of itself. But it's something that you can brew with, and I do like the extra fancy, or not fancy, but the different deck building approach you have to use when playing this Kuroneko. Okay, and then we have a support card for the 3-2 Miyuki Tasio double rare. Look at all these support cards for these double rares that we're not pulling yet. And then we have a climax combo for the 3-2, the leader of the girls' lolly basketball team, of which is a double rare that we haven't pulled yet. Have I mentioned we haven't pulled many of these double rares? Turns out when there's 15 double rares, hard to pull. Sakura So! I think Sakura So has one card, and it is unfortunately not Best Girl, because Nanami is Best Girl in Sakura So, but it is represented with the one card in Dengeki Bunko. Okay, Shana, 1-0 Shana. The maybe top card that people are looking for in the comments. This is a card that is extremely strong because it gives Shana Neo Standard some much appreciated deck speed. This is a level X or lower bomb or reverser, where the at level X equals the number of 3-2 Shana double rares in your waiting room. And the 3-2 Shana is definitely a card that most people are going to convert to in their Shana builds. Now that this Dengeki Bunko set is out. So generally speaking, you're going to run 4 Shana, and then the number of Shanas in your waiting room equals the number of level X reverser that this card is. And also, when this card reverses battle opponent during the turn it's played, you can pay 1 and look at up to the top 4 and add up to 1 Bunko or Flame character, and then give one of your characters 1000. So being a level X bomb means that it can almost always reliably reverse whatever it's battling, and then being able to pay 1+1 by milling 4, it's almost everything that Shana has ever wished for. There's extra sources of milling, some more ways to get selective advantage. By top checking 4, I mean you top check 4 quite a bit in Shana, obviously. The extra power is nice if you want to give a power boost to like another level 0 or like a level 3. Just a super good consistency piece that Shana really, really appreciates. Okay, so our fourth double rare is this Tomoka. This is the climax that combos with the Tomoka. Experience. On attack, we have a climax combo with... Oh, no, not so she has a burn effect that actually isn't a climax combo, but it is an experience effect where you need a copy of herself in your level zone. And if you do, on attack, put the top 2 cards of your deck in waiting room and then deal X equals the number of level 2 and higher cards revealed amongst those cards. So obviously this card is designed to be put in a deck that is maybe very standby heavy, or you can also put this in a deck that is very, that the level 1 is based around the level 1, the level 2 game. The level 1 game is based off of the level 2 Yukina. Sorry about that, guys. The level 2 Yukina of this mythical 2-1 Yukina that we just haven't pulled yet is a level 2 card. And if you run that, it makes your level 2 and higher count all that much higher, allowing the Tomoka to potentially get more burns consistently. Okay, and then her actual climax combo, this combo with this particular climax. And then at the beginning of your climax phase, if this is in the climax area and this card is in your front row and you have 5 or less cards, you can choose one of the effects and perform it. You can either pay 1 and then kill the climax. Wait, what? Choose one of the following effects. Oh, okay, sorry. So you can either stand it, or you can pay 1, kill the climax to burn 3 if you have a full board. So basically, you are able to play the standby, and then standby it all, even at level 2, and then you go into your attack phase, and then you stand it. Or, if she was already on your field the previous turn, from like standbying her out last turn, and you want to play another climax, you are able to just sacked it off and then burn 3. What's really nice is that you're able to, like, let's say you had one Tomoka that you stood by out the previous turn, you play on your next turn another standby, you bring out another Tomoka, and then you activate that Tomoka first, being able to stand that Tomoka, and then you activate this Tomoka, which was on your board the previous turn, and you stack that climax and you burn 3. So you have 2 Tomokas, one got the immediate stand, one got the burn effect off. So this does not diminish, thankfully, so that if we have a prolonged level 2 game, we can make full use out of it. Okay, so this Shoguho and Mikoto is worth noting because it is a stock charger. Another one of those cards that really wants you to run a bunch of level 1 and higher. So it's on attack. If there is a climax during climax area, reveal the top card of your deck. If it's level 1 or higher, put it into your stock. And then this is just a 6/5 attacker during your turn. And our rare is this Ordinary Day's Might. This is the Asami Seto voice actress signature that comes in the set for Mai. And it is a pretty decent card. On play, it gets 1000 power times the number of your Dengeki Bunko or Adolescence characters, including herself, so it goes up to 12k on a full board. And then on reverse, if your battle opponent, if you have any climax, it's not tied to any particular climax combo, it's just if you have any climax, you can put a card from a character from waiting room and then put it into your stock. So just a clean stock refund. 13k attacker if you have a 1k one. Just very no frills, you know exactly what you're getting, you know exactly what you paid for. Which hopefully is nothing because you got the stock refund from it. And you can put it into your Bunny Girl deck. Alright, and then we've pulled the Kirino double rare. Alright, so the Kirino double rare from our last pack is the climax combo for the Aura Emo / Eromanga Sensei build. On play heal, and then ready for this, guys. On attack, discard 3. Why does this card discard 3? Discard 3 is so heavy on a healer. But it's on attack, discard 3. If you do, look at 2 cards from your opponent's deck, choose up to 2 among them, put it on the top of your deck in order, any order, and then build the rest. So we Mocha 2. And then at the end of this card's attack, you burn 2. So on attack, discard 3. Mocha 2 on your opponent, burn 2. This is why that Kanako is so important. Who's going to have the stock for it? Who's going to have the hand for this? This girl is asking for way too much for her life counseling. If we want to double Kirino is already 9 hand. 2 for the Kirinos themselves, 1 for the gold bar, and 6 hand for discarding. Ladies and gentlemen, it has always been a dream of mine to triple Kirino. But triple Kirino is 13 hand. You know how we get to 13 hand? We play the level 0 Kanako. We end turn with 7 hand. We use the Kanako to go to 9 hand. We draw to 10 hand. We clock to 11 hand. And then we hit 2 off of Brainstorm. And if the stars align and the wise gods are feeling generous, then we triple Kirino. For what? I mean, anyways. I have dreamt this dream. I have lived this dream. Hopefully, we're definitely going to feature the Kirino 8 bar build, and maybe we can live the dream on camera. But yeah, she's so expensive. Discard 3, ooh la la, man. Alright, so that was our first box. Like mentioned, we do pull 5 double rares in every single box, and we do get the 2 SR foils. And if we get an SP, it is extra on top, but obviously we did not pull one here. But no worries, we do have 1 more box to go. And we have a ton of double rares that we haven't seen yet, so hopefully we can pull some extras that we haven't seen before. Stick around and let me clean up, and we'll go into the next one. Alright, we're back, guys. We are more than an hour and a half into our product opening video for Dengeki Bunko, but hey, hope you guys have been comfortable so far. We are opening our second and last box for this opening video, and we do have the Netoge no Yome wa Onna no Ko ja nai to omota. Did you think that there were no girls in your online games? I think it's what it... Did you... Oh, there's an English translation down here. Okay, and you thought there is never a girl online. Not how I would have done, but anyways, okay, so this is our going first for the box topper. Again, there are 51 different ones. So for 2 boxes, we did get a going first and a going second. There we go. 16 new fresh packs. Hopefully we can pull some more double rares. Maybe if we're super lucky, we do pull a signature. Again, it is 3 out of 18. So obviously the odds are not in our favor, but hey, when have we ever believed? When have we ever not been believers of odds? Well, that's a bad start. We pulled another double rare of something that we've seen before. So this Hinata is the level 0 Brainstorm for the 8 standby deck. What is really tragic about this card is that it's a top self, top check 5 Brainstorm, but then it checks for if you hit a standby at all compared to the number of standbys you hit. So if you hit a standby at all, if there is a standby trigger amongst those cards milled, then you look at top 3 and add 1. So you will never plus more than 1 from this Brainstorm, which is just so tragic. It's so tragic. Like, why? Okay, off to a terrible start. We have another double rare that we pulled already. It seems like the Weiss Schwarz wanted to speed run this one. Oh, okay, fine. Oh, we are pulling so many double rares in our first 3. Okay, finally we pull something different, and this is definitely one of the cards you're looking out for. This is the Jess and Pig Brainstormer, featuring Aizawa Emma of Vispo fame. Basically, it's her. Super cute. Anyways, it's our top self Brainstorm for the set. And then also, when we play Climax, we can look at top 2 of our own deck and put them on top of our deck in any order, which is honestly so good in Dengeki Bunko. The top check to rearrange effect, the additional information that we have, the controlled attack order, being able to decide if you want to front or side, this top check effect seriously makes the set so much better. Seriously. There are so many cards that rely on having your top deck be a level 1 or higher or level 2 or higher, and the just being able to give you that exact information going into your attacks. Oh my goodness. Such a good card. Oh, this is actually pretty notable. This 1-0 Minor is actually a bounce back. When your other Dengeki Bunko characters is front attack, you can pay 1 and sack this to bounce that character back to your hand. And also on attack, give any character 15. So honestly, what else can you ask for? She'll always attack for 5/5 at worst. But if she doesn't need to attack for that full 5/5, you just give 15 to someone else. So being able to control and manipulate your power so that you always have either her or that, so that you can have her and the target that you want to save next turn both attack and lift the tilde tail, and then being able to bounce that back next turn. These two effects are really synergistic. Okay, and then we have this Pig and Ceres and Black Pig. I don't know if they're sisters or not. Like this character is even named Ceres, and like Ceres Fauna connections. I don't know. But anyways, this card is kind of cool. It's a stock bomb, anti-level stock bomb, but it's also on play. You get to look at your opponent's hand. That's it. You just look at your opponent's hand. It's like, hey, show me your hand. You know, show me what you got. You know, so some extra info. All right, 3 double rares in our first 3 packs. Kind of a very stark contrast to our last pack, or from our last box. Okay, our rare this time is also something new that we haven't pulled before. This is the this goes with this. Another card that we have to wait for to see because this combos with the level 3 Tatsuya Miyuki. It's actually the early play condition of the Tatsuya Miyuki level 3, so we have to pull that. Okay, so this rare is 2-1 Kino. During your turn, it gets 3,000 power per every one of your characters backstage, so it goes up to 12/5. And then on reverse, if your opponent's, if you have a climax in your climax area, you can bottom deck your opponent's character. So not bad. Play a climax 1k1, it goes to 13/5 on reverse bottom deck. 13/5 is a very respectable power again because a lot of characters on defense, 3/2s and stuff, or like 2/2 hand-on course will be 10k. So 10k plus 3k will oftentimes be 500 for short for this bottom deck effect. So. Okay, we have this Len. At the very least, we are pulling a good amount of rares that we haven't seen before. So this Len is on play. You can level swap. Really helps for the Len deck because I believe the Len deck from GGO has experience. So you can help. It helps you with your experience requirement in the GGO Neo Standard. It'll also help you with let's say like the level 3 Tomoka. You can help if you didn't get the Tomoka in your experience by level 2. You can play the Len and put your Tomoka in. And also start a pay 1 sack self top strike 4 and add 1 level 1 or higher card. Oh man, all these level 1 and higher, man. I just want to play 25 zeros in every single one of my Weiss decks, man. Okay, our first foil is this 1-0 Himari. So on attack, reveal the top card of a deck. If it's an event or Dengeki Bunko characters, we get to give a character 3000. So it's conditional extreme power. But again, something like the Jeff's Brainstorm will allow you to help confirm that. And if you needed the extra 3k, there you go. Not a card that I probably think I would particularly run. Being in green does have a lot of contenders if you want to run like the Aura Emo Shell. With the 1-0 ISA, which just gives 2k on attack for anything to anyone for free, and also just has that shuffle back too. So I think it's probably just like a flavor card. Okay. Yeah, green level 1 does have a bit too much competition, I think. All right, another Horizon. I mean, I'm not complaining, but like, man. As many Horizons as possible is always good, but we are not seeing new double rares. Okay, so this is the 1-0 that has the synergy with the 1-1 Hollow. Yeah, if you guys remember the 1-1 Hollow 8k Pseudo Encore, that 1-1 is actually 6k printed, and it gets 2k if you have this on board. And this card allows you to just summon the 1-1 Hollow from your deck. This is during your turn, all of your characters get 1000, and on play you can discard a card and summon the Wise Wolf Hollow from your deck directly on stage, so you get to actually cheat out that card and forego its 1 stock requirement. So if you think about it, the 1-0 9k during your turn and then 8k during your opponent's turn, workable. It's workable. Alright, second hand. Oh yeah, and this is the combo in question. Ooh, okay, and we have a foil Minori. This is the drop Salvager that we talked about that can bounce back potentially if we hit a level 2 or higher. And our rare is a new card, 3-2 Ariel. During the turn this card was played, on reverse the battle opponent, you can pay 1 and clock shoot them. And then when this card was reversed, you mandatory have to put this card into your memory. And then when this card is in memory at the start of your climax phase, you can discard 2 and then summon this again if you're level 3. So this card, the way this card is worded is you can't kind of like standby shenanigans in it. But you always have that clock shoot. The turn that this card is placed on stage from hand or memory, clock shoot effect makes it so that like every time she comes back from any zone, you can just like have the on reverse pay 1 clock shoot. It's you know, level 3 generally speaking nowadays doesn't last for more than 2 turns, so the value of this card will mostly be if you value that 1 clock shoot for the 1 turn, and just coincidentally if the game goes on for another turn and you are lacking some quality attackers, you discard 2, summon this. It's not the worst deal. I've seen worse deals out there. I've seen worse value out there. Okay, so this is the Index Toma Climax combo. Like any and all Toma cards that we mentioned, like the one in the trial deck, this level 1 Climax combo is also a level 0 on stage. This Toma Index is also a level 0 on stage, but in exchange, this card cannot be chosen by your opponent's effects, and also this all characters facing this card cannot side. So they can't really abuse the fact that this is a level 0 outside of this being susceptible to level 0 reversers. Also heals on play, and then Climax combo on attack with library of 103,000 Grimoires. This gets 1,000 cross turn, and then also gets a following ability cross turn where When this card is frontal attack, you can look at the top card of your deck and either leave it on top or put it into your waiting room, and you do that twice. So it's a double scry on frontal attack. Also heals. It's definitely a decent card for attrition. It makes it so that your opponent's frontal attacks is extremely unlikely to stick because you do check twice. Being on play heal is the best effect that it can have because you are able to probably heal down back to 3-0, and the likelihood of you dying the next turn is probably solely dependent on if you take their burns or not, because of the low percentage chance of you actually taking their actual swing attack from the top from you being able to scry twice. In Japanese, it's worth noting that this obviously was designed with the intent of putting it in Index Neo Standard. And just for some lore out there, the Index deck in Japanese is a very heal-based deck. In particular, they have this event that allows them to heal 2. So you can kind of see the direction that any Index's deck is based off of. It's like super attrition. They have like they have negative finishing power. But all they want to do is not die. And I can appreciate that. This is a spammable brainstorm. So if you do want the spammable brainstorm profile... Oh wait, no, this is not a spammable brainstorm. This is a search brainstorm. Never mind. Misread. Ooh, Hataraku Mao-sama. So this is this is kind of a started from the bottom and now we're here type of card, as is very Mao-like. He starts from the bottom of being a Rock Donald's employee. So what this card does is actually a back row and front row attacker. He starts as a back row attacker. He starts in the back. He starts on the fryers, on the grill. So he has a startup where we can tap himself, give one of our opponent's characters in front row -1000. And then when your character's trigger check reveals a climax with bar in its R icon, if you have one or less markers underneath this card, you can look at the top card of your deck and then marker it. And then when this card attacks, right? Bet you guys didn't expect that. When this card attacks, you can discard 2 markers underneath this card, and if you do, this card gets 9,000 power, putting him at 10,000. So this Mao is just gonna work in the back. He's gonna flip the burgers. He's gonna fry the fries. He's gonna tap -1000. But just you wait. Mao is a man with ambition, and once he gets those 2 markers, he can go into the front. He'll become the manager. He'll become the star employee of his Rock Donald's, and he's gonna attack for 10,000 power. It's really weird though that this is specifically a gold bar support, or like he can only activate off of the gold bar, given that gold bar is like the Oraimo Eromanga deck. So that's interesting. It's interesting that they only restricted this to gold bar and you don't get to activate it off of all climax types. I feel like they definitely could have done this card a solid by being a lot less restrictive, but you know, hey. A for effort, A for flavor. Probably like a D for playability. It's a fun card. Honestly, like if the meta is full of like 500 powers that need to get on reverse or something, like the level 0 I from Oshinoko, right? That's a good example. You use the Mao, they just don't get to have their effect. Mao just gets to save I, and she doesn't go to memory. Ooh, okay, this rare is also something that we've not seen, so really cool card. So we've talked about a couple of events that are pretty nice, like the 2-0 Shana event in particular, maybe the 2-3 Hollow Burn event as well. This is a card that will allow your events to just function a lot more smoothly. You can see them a lot more often. This Shana and Wilhelmina is on play event Rize. So we get to top check up to 3 cards and add up to 1 event from them, and then add it to your hand, discard the card. But also it's a early game attacker, because she has the effect where at the beginning of your opponent's attack phase, you can clock a Bunko character or Flame character from your waiting room to the bottom of your clock. If you do, move this to the backstage. So it's just going to be a super consistent way of getting that free +1 at level 0, where damage can be traded very reliably for a card. and then you can just keep on attacking, be more aggressive. Again, kind of like how the Pard works. I think the Shana is also really nice because this is a card that has a lot of staying power level 0. It does not require you to open a bunch of zeros in order to have multiple turns of her attacking. And also it fits really well into the decks that do want to run events because she gives you the deck speed and also the hand filter to be able to find events with more consistency. So if you are running a deck that is very event heavy, I think this is definitely a heavy consideration. Alright, so we should be expecting one more double rare, and if we're really, really lucky, then maybe we pull an SP. Ooh, 3-2 Shin and Lena. We've seen 2 Lena cards so far with just her, but Shin, for those that don't know, is the main character, the main male character of 86. This is an early play where if your opponent has a level 3 or higher character, this gets -1 level. On play, you can choose a Dengeki Bunko in your clock and put it on the bottom of your deck, so it heals a character to the bottom of your deck. And then startup, you can pay 1, and then if you do, this gets 1000 power, and on reverse, you send that character on the top of your opponent's deck. So you're sending characters all over the place. You're sending your own character on clock to the bottom of your deck. You can pay 1 and send their character to the top of their deck. It's a good... I want to say it's the most reliable way of hard removing something, because as an early play themselves, it is susceptible to anti-change. The 11k power is also not super high, but obviously if you have something like the 1-1 Lena that this card probably is associated with, that 1-1 Lena, if you guys remember, is in itself already a level assist, and also at the start of your climax phase, you can give another character another level assist. So if you just have that 1-1 Lena by itself, you can just have it be 13k and 14k if you activate the pay 1 for the startup. And if you really, really want that extra power, the Lena allows you to give one of your characters 1 level, so you can put this at level 4, and then the level assist essentially become 2k buffs. So you can put this up to 14k, 15 with the startup. I think that is definitely just the general idea of that. Okay, and then for our rare, we have this Sagri and Elf from Eromanga Sensei. It's on reverse Rize, so on reverse, reveal top 3, and then add a Bunko character, and then discard 1. And then resonate with the 1-0 Sagiri. At the beginning of your climax phase, you can resonate, show your opponent that you do have the 1-0 Sagiri in your hand, and if you do, this card gets 2k, putting her at 4k. Only a few packs left. Will we pull a Yukina? Or a Tatsuya Miyuki? We can only pull 1 because we have 1 double rare slot left. Or we can pull nothing. Or we can pull neither because there's like 11 other double rares. Okay, so this is our last double rare that we pulled for the box, and this is a level 0 Nanao. 500 power printed, which is kind of deceptive because she realistically is 3000 power. If you have 5 or more cards in hand, she gets 2500 power, and at the beginning of your bonus attack phase, you can move this to the middle. And then second effect is when this card's battle opponent becomes reversed, you can draw 1, discard 1. So pretty nice filter, right? It's okay. 3k is, obviously it's not 3-5. I think 3-5 is really the premium for beaters nowadays. Because like if your opponent plays a 3-5, like Aqua is really the gold standard. I like the prevalence of Aqua / Laplace / Koyori from Hololive is the reason I think why 3-5 is so important. But you also have things like the Milim Chaser from Slime. You also have Gil Thunder Chaser from Some Deadly Sins. 3-5 is just such an important number to hit if you actually want to exist as a beater. And this card being 3k will just miss the mark on a lot of that. It is still fine as a turn 1 attacker because 3k on 2 lanes is going to be fairly difficult for most sets to deal with on their own turn 1. But oftentimes past turn 1, this card is not going to be super great. If anything, one might have preferred for her to have the like the Yor from Spy Family, the level 0 Trollic Yor, which is 3-5, and on reverse you can salvage a character and discard a card. The draw 1 is not necessarily worse, but it is going to be a lot more random as to the card that you are getting. But if you are also a deck that wants to potentially draw more climaxes, or you want to find more events, or simply because at the beginning of the game you don't have that much waiting room, then you could actually think that the draw 1 discard 1 is a bit better. But again, I think the being 3K is a very big downside, unfortunately. Alright, and then for our rare, we have Accelerator and Last Order. So this is the railgun side of things. This is on play. You can pay 1 and discard a Dengeki Bunko or Psychic Ability or Clone character. And Clone matters because Last Order is a clone alongside the Misaka clones. If you do, look at top 3 and add 1 card. And then it's a level 0 stock bomb. So, very useful card. 500 power is obviously the premium for hard removal at level 0. There are a ton of characters that are 500 power that want to hit the waiting room, that want to get reversed and activate their effects. Things like Aquas on side lanes or like the level 0 Eye. Being 500 power is super good for that effect. And then also just having the other effect of being able to act as utility makes this card, you'll never feel bad about running this card as like a 1-of, you know, or maybe even like a 2-of, depending on how much you want to see that hard removal effect. Because the pay 1 discard a character top check 3 effect is always going to be something that you won't hate seeing at all stages of the game. Alright, so we have gone through our double rares. So these last 2 packs we are looking for a sign. See if we can pull a sign here. We do not. Okay, so this is a card. This is a really weird card. Well, it's not weird. It just doesn't. It's a climax combo that doesn't actually plus your hand. It pluses you stock. So this is a 104K from Horizon. Gets 500 per every other Bunko character. So if you have full board, 6K. Climax combo on attack with Impossible. You choose a Dengeki Bunko character in Widom and put it into your stock. So it's a stock generator. There's not a super way to like generate hand in this this set in your back row. You do have the 1-0 Demon Academy support, the 1-0 that allows you to pay 1 tap self, give one of your characters on reverse salvage. But it kind of feels like that's more trouble than it's worth, especially considering that you are playing blue at level 1 for this, if you are playing this level 1 Tori, and then you also have to play red for that level 1. It kind of just doesn't seem like all the effort in deck building is worth the slots. I probably would just prefer something like just a regular advantage engine, and then I think the stock can just come from elsewhere. And generally speaking, attack 3 times and just being efficient with the resources is generally enough to get you there. And there's not like a finisher in this set that like requires a ton of stock. If anything, most finishers require a ton of hand. And we'll go through some of those finishers as well as we see them. But yeah, most finishers just need the hand. So like the stock charging effect of this is not super synergistic with the game plan of the majority of the rest of the set. Okay, and our last pack, unfortunately, there is no SP, but you know, we never expected, and we're happy if we do pull one. The last card we pulled is the Silver Crow from Excel World. It's a nice card to end off the box opening because it is a nice throwback to one of the earliest sets in, well, one of the earlier sets in Weiss. I wouldn't say earliest, but Excel World is quite old. This 2-1 Silver Crow is, if you have 3 more characters, plus 3k. Base 5, so he goes up to 8. And then he has not 1, but 2 accelerate effects. His first accelerate effect is Clock Self, and then gets 5,000 power, and then during this card's battle, your opponent can't use backups or events. So if you really want to just run over something, you can. For example, in English, Muran Shuna would be 12-5. The Silver Crow with his first accelerate ability would put him up at 13k, no backup, no events. So if you really hate slime and you're playing Dengeki Bunko and you just want to answer your opponent, no matter the cost, Silver Crow will get you there. Silver Crow will get the job done. But we're not done. He has a second accelerate effect. Second accelerate effect, you can accelerate, and then if you do, he gets the following ability. We're on reverse, put the top card of your deck into stock, and then choose one character in your waiting and return it to your hand. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. That is just 2 resources for 1 clock. So, if you are willing to pay the 1 stock for the card, accelerate once so that he gets big and can guarantee the reverse, and then accelerate another time so that you can get the 1 stock and 1 salvage, This is a lot of text on one card. This is like Yu-Gi-Oh! Amounts of text on this card. But hey, when the situation calls for it, Silver Crow can be the hero that you're looking for. So that does wrap up our 2 box openings. Unfortunately for this box, we did pull a good amount of double or duplicates. Funnily enough, I think we pulled like almost no dupes from the rares, which is kind of crazy. Let me double check how many rares there are. There are 32 rares. So yeah, that's kind of wild that we did we pull all 32? There's no way, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Did we pull any duplicates? What? What? Really? Really? Huh? Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, I don't think we pulled any duplicates. Wow, that's... What? Yeah, well, that's, can you believe that, guys? That's crazy. Alright, we're gonna clean up a bit, and then we are going to go through some of the double rares that we have not been able to pull, and talk about those a little bit, and then we'll wrap this video up. Thank you guys so much for sticking with me all this time. I'm gonna take a drink of water, get cleaned up, and I'll be right back. Alrighty, we are back, guys, and just to wrap up the video, we are taking a look at the remainder of the 15 double rares that we did not pull from our 2 boxes, starting from yellow, and we'll proceed to blue. So, the first one that we missed was the level 3 Asuna combo, and this combo is with a choice. On play heal and climax combo on attack, discard a Bunko or Avatar net character. And then if you do, this card gets the following ability until the end of turn, where up to twice per turn, when this card's damage is cancelled, you may burn 2. So, this is the card that I really liked in conjunction with other sources of damage. For example, the level 3 Ashia, that can give all of your other characters on not cancel burn 1, or the Hollow event, where you can stack this effect on Asuna, and then the Asuna swings. If they take that swing, then you have an additional burn 3, and that will allow you to give you more opportunities to proc the cancel burn 2 twice. And then the way this card works is like it activates up to twice per turn, so if they cancel the burn 2 the first time, you'll get to do it again. So the more instances of damage that you'll be able to stack on this Asuna, the more potent her actual climax combo will be. So running cards like the 3-2 Ashia and the 2-3 Spice and Wolf event will help this card go a long way. Next up, we have this Taiga. It's a stock swap. No, we're slowly seeing less and less of actual stock swap nowadays in Japanese wise. We're seeing more stock washes where we send the stock back into their deck. I think they have determined that the stock swap effect is a bit too strong to keep printing for future sets. But for the time being, a lot of sets are still getting it, especially as we are converting a lot of older Japanese sets to English wise. So this is a stock swap. But also, she has the additional effect of, on play, instead of stock swap, you can pay 1 and just burn 1, and she gets 2k. And then during this card's battle, all players cannot play backup. So, for the most part, the effects are actually really good. We would play this card anyways because it just did offer stock swap, but kind of like how the stock swap from Ruby, the 3-2 Salem, has that additional second effect of if you don't need to stock swap, you can just do something else. This Taika also has the effect of being able to just burn 1 if you don't care about the stock swap effect, and has the additional effect of being able to turn off counters during her battle. Okay, next up we have this level 0 Emi from Hataraku Mao-sama. A very, very crucial card that you'll probably see in almost every single Dengeki build, and that you'll want to consider. This is a Riki. This is just a straight up Riki. But it's the good kind, where you can choose a character in waiting and clock to the bottom of your clock, and then if you do, search your deck for one level 1 or lower character, and during your turn she gets 1000 power. So, attacks for 2-5, on play, pay 1 clock yourself, search for level 1 or higher. No frills, super good. Okay, next we'll look at this level 0 Sasha. This level 0 Sasha is a bit of a cool card. Oh, I think it's a pretty cool card. But it is one of those cards that again harkens back to the deck building principle that Dengeki lays on us, where we want to play level 1 and higher cards, and we want to play them in abundance. Both of our effects have things to do with level 1 and higher. The first effect is really obnoxious. It's on attack, reveal the top card of our deck, and if it's level 1 or higher, we actually get to choose the level 0 or lower character in their front row and just send it to the waiting room. So even though she is herself 1000 power, she has the ability to just pop anything at level 0. Super good. And then her second effect is the very typical on death Akatsuki effect, but then instead of no forward add a character, this is what we commonly refer to in the community as the Fukujiro effect from GGO, where it's on death, discard 1, top check up to 4, add up to 1 level 1 or higher card. So again, harkening back to the level 1 or higher archetype. Next, we have the double word that probably most people are going to look for because this is going to be sought after by 2 Neo standard builds. Obviously, the Dengeki Bunko build can consider this card, but also Shana definitely wants this card. This is a really powerful finisher, 3-2 Shana on play heal. Climax combo experience 6. You can discard 2, and then if you do burn 4, and then if the burn 4 is cancelled, you can choose up to X cards in your opponent's weight room and then shuffle them back, where X equals the number of other characters you have. So if you have a full board, on attack, discard 2, burn 4. If they cancel, shuffle back 4. Wow, what a strong finisher. What a strong finisher. And again, like I just mentioned, it's very hand heavy. So it's something that you'll definitely have to prep for. It's something that you ideally want to keep hand size at a maximum going into your final turn. And you don't mind spending a bunch of stock to do so because Shana is very stock light. So you'll have to just be conscious about how you balance your resources and things like that. But definitely one to look out for. And this is the 3-2 Shana in question that we mentioned when we saw the 1-0 Shana bomb. This is the Shana that she checks for. So both of these cards are huge boons to the Dengeki, or to the Shakugan the Shana Neo standard deck. Next up, we have this level 0 Index from Index Railgun. Super good card. It's one of the cards that you'll want to consider in almost every deck. On play, discard any card from your hand, top check, top card, and then salvage the level's X or lower card from your weight room. X equals the number, the level of the revealed card. What else is there to say? It's just a free waiting room filter. She does have that extra effect of being able to give 1,000 to any of your characters on attack. That's why she's 500 base instead of the normal typical stat line for the first effect of the filter effect. Normally those cards are 1,000 power. She loses 500 power in exchange for being able to assign 1,000 anywhere on attack, so no complaints there. Alright, and now we can talk about the Miyuki and the Tatsuya. Oh, also, this level 0 Asuna that I set aside earlier, this is on play, discard a card, discard a character, search our deck for the 3-2 Asuna, and then she gives specifically the 3-2 Asuna 1,000 power. Or 2,000 power, actually. So, attacks for 13k, not bad. Okay, let's start with Yukina. So the Yukina is a level 2 that is intended to be played at level 1. The way she comes down at level 1 is we have this 1-0 Kojo that has the startup effect of putting this into our clock, and then if we do, we can just summon this Yukina from our hand. And then the climax combo for Yukina is we get to summon a copy of itself from deck onto our stage. And then if all of our characters are Dengeki Bunko, they get 5,000 power. So these are effectively just always going to be 10,000 power. And then the last effect is really interesting. The last effect is when this card reverses a battle opponent, if there is any climax in our climax area, it's not actually tied to this climax combo. The climax combo only summons another copy of itself. But when this card reverses your opponent, if there's any climax, reveal the top card of our deck, and guess what? If it's a level 1 or higher card, we get to add it to our hand. Now, obviously, this entire package is all 1s and 2s. And generally speaking, all of Dengeki wants you to play a bunch of 1s anyway. So you are probably going to be able to hit a good amount of these. Something like the Brainstorm. The Just Brainstorm is extremely synergistic with the Yukina because you can play the climax, activate Yukina, search for another Yukina, and then now you summon her, and then you activate the Just and Pick after you've already shuffled your deck, top check 2 to see what your triggers are, and then that'll allow you to decide if you want to attack with the Yukina first, or if you want to attack with your other attacker first. Because if you see 2 zeros, then you attack with something else, then you attack with the Yukina. But if you see 2 cards and one of them is something that you do want to add to your hand, you put that on the second card, right? So you trigger the other card with Yukina, and then you top check on reverse, and then you put the card that you want to add as a second card. So that makes it a lot more consistent for you. The second Yukina is always has to be kind of just a random guess, but at the very least, you do always just have a 10k beater to rely on. So even if you don't hit the top check, I would say that's still pretty good value for what it's worth. And you don't actually pay any stock for this. You got two 2-1 10ks, and all you did was clock a 1-0, and that's it. The 1-0 Kojo itself is also just a decent attacker. It does compete with Yukina, but he also has an effect where on reverse, reveal the top card of our deck, and then if it's level 1 or higher, add to hand. This actually is the exact same effect as the Yukina, but it's there, right? It's better than not having the text, right? So. And then this Asagi is a way for us to guarantee that we do have Yukinas in our deck to summon. On play, we can choose up to 2 copies of this particular Yukina in our weight room and shuffle them back into our deck. Or it's not shuffle, or put them on the bottom of our deck in any order, in which we would then summon it. And then also on play, we could give any of our characters 2,000 power. So that actual on play effect power is pretty good. It allows us our Yukina to hit 13k. It allows our Kojo to hit 8k because allows our Kojo to hit 8k because he gets 2k during turn, 5k himself, 1k, 6k with the 1k one, 2k with the Asagi. Okay, and finally, last but not least, we have the 3-2 Miyuki Tatsuya. 3-2 Miyuki Tatsuya is designed to be a very all-in-one package. It is going to be at once your level 2 attrition game, but also your level 3 finisher, if you wanted to. On play, top check X add 1, where X equals the number of characters your opponent has. Very interesting, because it allows you to just almost always top check 5. And the way this card actually comes out of level 2 is through the effect of this level 0 Summer Festival, Miyuki and Tatsuya. During your climax phase, when you play their corresponding climax, which is a pants, you can pay 1 and sack this to summon the level 3 Tatsuya Miyuki on stage from your hand. So if you want to play 3 copies, you would need to have 3 of these, and then you would just summon 3 copies from your hand by sacking 3. And it is really nice because they do all cantrip on play. This card also has a secondary effect of being able to tap self to give 1,000 somewhere. So you can park 1 or even 2 of these in the back row. At level 0, you don't have to hold them to your hand like they're kind of just level 2 pieces that you can only play at level 2. They will have some effect at level 0. The actual climax combo for the Miyuki Tatsuya is at the beginning of your attack phase. If receive power, which is the same climax that brings it out, it's in your climax area and you have 3 or more other characters, you can choose one of the following abilities and it gets that ability until the end of your next turn, or until the end of your opponent's next turn. The first one is, on attack, you can pay 2, discard 1, and they burn 3, and this card gets 2k until the end of turn. Or, at the beginning of your opponent's attack phase, you can choose one opponent's characters, and they get -2 soul. So, level 2 attrition with the -2 soul. You can spam multiple copies of this as long as you have multiple copies of the level 0 to bring out. If they survive long enough, then you do have the option of the next time you need to go for the finishing push, or you think it's an opportune time to just go for the finishing push immediately, you can choose the mode that burns 3 instead. And the final piece that goes with this is this 2-1. Graduation Miyuki and Tatsuya is a support that specifically supports this card. This card cannot be chosen by opponent's effects, so it is hexproof, cannot be balanced or chosen or any way. It's a 2k assist to level 3 and hires in front, so this Miyuki and Tatsuya effectively becomes 12k cross turn. And then last effect is, when your other copy of this 3-2 Miyuki Tatsuya is reversed in battle, you can discard 2 blue cards, and then if you do, you can rest this, and then reverse the other character. That's really powerful. The cost is actually not super. It is expensive, don't get me wrong. Discard 2 is expensive, but it's discard 2 blue cards. So the obviously intent is that you do want to play 8 pants with this. You have the level 1 Tatsuya from the trial deck that you can play with this. Obviously if you want to stick with the Mahouka theme. Otherwise you could play the level 2 Yukina with this, and that's also 8 pants with a bunch of all blue cards. But the idea is that it makes your early play a lot more sticky. They would have to hard remove it through like an anti-level bomb. if they just regularly contest it, you are able to just continuously save this card as long as you have enough hand size, right? And it's really nice because the actual minus soul doesn't actually need hand size, so you can go down to like 1 card in hand and you just hold up hands, and the next turn you just go again. And it's really nice because you don't really fear retaliation in terms of counters, because the encore effect of this discard 2 also reverses the battle opponent alongside the effect. You're still going to swing for 4 or 5, but you're not going to face any resistance the turn after, which is really nice. Okay. Boy. What a video, guys. Whenever I decide to do one of these product opening videos, it's generally for a set that I'm pretty passionate about, or for a franchise that I hold dear to my heart. Dengeki Bunko, I have been a big fan of this ever since it came out in Japan. I tested the Japanese builds extensively, so I'm excited to show you some of those brews that I've been cooking for ever since the JP release. It's a set where also it has a lot of franchises that are very close to my heart. Toradora was one of my very first rom-coms that I watched and just kind of helped me fall in love with the anime medium in general. I still remember watching Toradora back in 2011, and I was like in my first year of college, or I think I was even in high school at the time. And it just really stuck with me, right? Obviously, we have like modern things that have been some big hits in the past couple years, like 86, but we also have other old stuff like Shana. We have Sword Art, obviously, Hataraku Mao-sama. So it's just a lot of nostalgia, and I think it really hits good for kind of like my particular demographic of like late 20s, early 30s, mid 30s folk that have grown up enjoying and consuming all of these different media contents for these different franchises spanning the decades, right? So if you are one of these demographics that grew up watching these shows, I think you'll have a lot of fun opening the set and exploring all the cards that there is to offer. Obviously, with 2 booster boxes, I cannot give you the full vision of all the cards that are possible. But hopefully, in terms of deck building, I gave you guys some good insight, and also just about how the overall set is kind of like structured. Coming up, we do have obviously the good old gameplay / deck profile videos that you can look forward to. So I'm excited to show those off for you. And Simu and Chairman will obviously, Simu aka Chairman and Rando aka Shizcast will be there along the ride to help me with exploring the Dengeki set and show you guys what it's all about. So thank you guys very much for sticking with me throughout this. I probably like 2-hour plus long video. Maybe you just put it on as a podcast when you're driving a long distance, or you're just putting it on in the background while you work, whatever the case. Hopefully my voice isn't just a complete nuisance. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.